Welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 483. Today is December 14th, 2016. My name is Nicholas Henderson, and to my right is Brad Simons.
I got a drink in my mouth.
You waited until I was going to introduce you to take a swig.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Thank you.
Doing great.
And to Brad's right is Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, everybody.
Who's wearing a dapper hat and shoes today. Looking rather dapper.
That's how I dress for work.
Oh, you have a dapper dress code at work?
No, I have a whatever dress code at work. But
Oh, God, I'm so jealous.
well, the thing is, they when I first started working there, they were very strict. Like, it had to be a polo or a button down, and if they were jeans, they had to be nice with no like blah blah blah.
I'm not even allowed to wear jeans. I have no forward. Like, I work in a place where I never see customers.
Yeah. Well, I don't see customers either.
Why do I
You do
have-
realize I don't work like in a store.
I know,
right?
but like, why?
I
can
thought you
not,
were cutting lumber.
Why can I not wear jeans? It's right. Okay.
But anyway, in the past like year, they've just started being like, just as long as you're not dressed like a homeless person, and as long as you
I've
can't
never
see
seen a
your
homeless
like
person. Well,
balls
maybe-
hanging out.
Maybe
then
I
you're
have
good
seen a
to
homeless
go.
person dressed like that. I don't know.
Nolan.
What's up, Brad?
What's the best-selling lumber these days?
Probably
He's
some
gonna give you an actual
Washington
answer.
spruce. Maybe?
No. Oh, you
Washington
son of a
spruce,
bitch.
huh? Is that a softwood or a hardwood?
It's kind of leaning towards hard.
Okay.
I just made all that up. I have no fucking idea. I can tell you our best seller on our website is that fucking new star sparkly shit.
Yeah.
Those projectors that look horrible.
Oh,
They
man.
Those look
bad?
so bad. No, they look good. They look like what they're trying to look like, but I think they look bad.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It doesn't look like you have lights on your house. It looks like you're projecting little dots on your house. That's what it looks like.
That's what you're doing.
It looks bad. My neighbor has one. It looks so bad.
I might get one because I don't really want to hang Christmas lights. But
I kind of want one.
I need to be Who here is festive?
Just so I can point it at half the house.
Brad has a Christmas tree. I know Nolan has a Christmas tree.
You have nothing up?
I have nothing up. I don't own a Christmas tree. I don't want to. I'm gonna go buy a fake Christmas tree this weekend.
Fake Christmas trees are really bad for the environment.
Fake
What?
ones are?
Yeah.
As opposed
I
to the
think
real ones where
are worse.
No, real ones fucking produce oxygen, and there's nothing.
But you have to cut them down. That's like
So?
anti-nature.
But you grow them to cut them down. Fake ones, you have to have a fucking plastic factory that uses plastic to create all that shit.
But you
which
never
creates-
throw it out.
You throw it out.
I mean, I don't.
Trust me, people throw it out. Do you know Goodwill will not accept Christmas trees because they get so many? They just don't accept
Oh
them.
shit! Should I go to Goodwill to get a Christmas tree?
No, they
Oh
don't
wait,
have
you're right.
them.
They don't. Okay.
If they
I should have
accepted
paid
them,
attention to what you just
they
said.
would have thousands of them every year, and so they just don't take them.
Man.
Let's get back to the feeding.
Point is, I am not festive so far this year, and I feel bad. I'm gonna get something this weekend, and I'm gonna decorate it.
Get a wreath.
I thought about it.
They have some really nice wreaths.
I did think about it. But by the way, I don't know what.
Doesn't matter.
We can't see chat this evening yet because of things that happened. So we're flying blind on this episode. We can't even watch our footage. So that's we're gonna see how this goes. Crispy is on his way. He's running late this evening, but he'll be here shortly. So for now, let's go ahead and get started. Before we talk about the video games, which we've got some good stuff to talk about. We're gonna revisit The Last Guardian. We're going to revisit Let It Die. I'm going to talk about the Resident Evil 7 VR demo, which I played through this past week. But before we do that, I want to read
The
feedback.
demo, the Resident Evil 5, 6, 7?
Seven.
What?
Yes.
The Resident Evil 7 VR demo with combat.
With combat.
Enemies.
One enemy.
But hey, it's a step forward.
Yes, that is true. Well, I'll talk about it. In fact, I might open with that. But first, I want to quickly pimp a couple things. One, if on the site this morning we posted a survey. It's December. We're approaching end of the year, game of the year stuff as we usually do. And every year we like to take input from the community. We do a survey. We let you all tell us what your 10 favorite games are, and then we put it all together and we come up with a community top 10, a top 10 games of the year as voted by the community.
What was last year's game of the year?
Oh,
I think it was Fallout.
no, was it?
I think it was Fallout.
I think it was.
Maybe, yeah.
It might have been Fallout. I
Oh my
forgot
God,
that.
the community's so wrong. Please be right this year. Please.
So yeah, if you have a personal top 10, you're welcome to go take said survey. You can find it on the front page at 4playernetwork.com. You just click on the banner there, follow the instructions, put your 10 favorite games in. You have until, I believe, December 31st to get those in, and then we'll tally them up and we'll produce and release a video, which should be out shortly after our personal top 10 videos make it out there into the wild. So go do that when you have a chance. Also, if you have not yet, please join our community Discord. It's free. It's like having Twitch chat in your pocket. You can hang out, talk to people all day, even when we're not streaming.
Yeah, sign on some of y'all. Sometimes you pop over to the stream when no one's broadcasting. You're like, hey, well, how's everybody doing? And you get nothing. That's when you go over to Discord, because that's where people are hanging out.
Where everybody
moving
is.
and shaking.
Moving and shaking. Actually, Discord is pretty hopping. So you can find it at discord.gg/4player. Check it out. And before we get into the games, I want to briefly mention some feedback from last week's episode. It's not a whole lot this week, but I'm going to go ahead and read some of them off. If there's anything that we talk about this evening that you would like to chime in on, whether it's one of the games we played or one of the news topics or one of the questions that's brought up in the Patreon or the community segment, you can leave it in the comments at 4playernetwork.com on the posting for this episode, and we will get to it at the beginning of next week. So our first comment, or first bit of feedback this week comes from Vandal. He says, yo, I'm not crazy for anime, which I think this is in response to, we were talking a little bit about Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy for anime, but if you want a show that destroys anime tropes, consider Mob Psycho 100. Has anyone heard of that?
No.
Never heard of it.
Interesting title for one that destroys conventions.
Yeah, it seems very anime-esque. But hey, someone asked a question last week about our favorite anime or something like that. In the
or it was a
comments.
couple of weeks ago or something, whatever. Yeah.
But yeah,
We talked about anime.
Mob Psycho 100. He says you can find it at crunchyroll.com, but his message was not sponsored in any way by crunchyroll.com. All right, next.
So he says.
So he says. Next bit of feedback comes from Fourth Horseman. He says, I feel like I've seen some people use the performances between OG PS4, or some people referring to the PS4, as Brad likes to put it, and the PS4 Pro as an argument for their fear of iterative consoles. People were worried about the same game seemingly better on one over the other, and the frame rate of The Last Guardian is what they bring up. Haven't played it or read up on it, so I don't know how accurate these arguments are, but I like to think the development hell of this one particular game makes this a unique circumstance, or at least I hope so.
I mean, I would assume this is a unique circumstance for the pure fact that this was supposed to come out on a PS3.
Yeah, this
and it's having problems running on a PS4.
This game was announced before the PS3 was out, I think, if I remember
Not
correctly.
before the PS3 was out.
I think.
Yeah,
It was like around that. No, it was after. It was after.
No, Final Fantasy 15 was announced before the PS3 was out.
Yes. No, yeah, this was definitely announced after the PS3
Either
was
way,
out.
it's been in development for a very long time.
I mean, I don't understand how it couldn't have been. Shadow of the Colossus came out at the very end of the PS2 cycle.
Yeah, you're right.
Right before it started dropping off because of the PS3.
Hey, look.
But in that regard, I would say that, I would say this is a bad example. I would definitely say that it is an example of the fact that the PS4 has, like Brad was saying, just more horsepower and is capable of making a game that is not optimized run better.
Yeah, and it's also kind of a weird situation because we're in the middle of the PS4 life cycle in general, and this kind of, because this is an iterative release of the hardware, this is kind of like suddenly a handful of PS4 games are kind of like launch titles now for a different piece of hardware, which is kind of strange to think about. So I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit of some overlap there, where suddenly a lot of games seemingly up front.
I would say the problem is it's another bad comparison, but Final Fantasy 15 is a game that also does have some performance issues, and it does seem to run slightly better on the PS4 Pro.
But we're going to start seeing more and more games that give you options to mess around with. Neo is one that's coming out that we already know has different options for...
It's sounding like the way to go, from what I'm understanding across the board, is just, even if you have a 4K TV, playing in 1080p on a Pro, because the frame rates are slightly
better,
smoother. While in 4K, they're kind of where they were out on the PS4 or lower, like with... and
if the game happens to have HDR...
HDR, from what I understand, is always... I mean, like, that is a very noticeable difference.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting a new TV pretty soon, because it's just about that time.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about... I'm going to get a 4K TV, I'm pretty sure, but I'm more focused on finding HDR.
I'm, like, waiting for that one TV to die. Like, I'm, like, almost hoping it dies every day, because it takes so long to turn on. I'm like, I know it's on its last legs, and I'm like, please just die. Please just die so I can get a new one.
Let me ask you this. how come the PS4 Pro doesn't do 4K Blu-rays?
Well, that's different. That's the Blu-ray player, not the output of the system itself. They just chose to not put a 4K Blu-ray.
But that's strange for Sony.
Yeah, it is.
Like, think about it. This is Sony.
You know why it's not strange?
So they can make a new console later?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
They're gonna. I guarantee you, at some point, they are gonna come out with a PS4 Pro Slim that will have 4K Blu-ray playback.
Don't worry, Brad.
That's why it's so, like a hamburger, so they could do the fucking
Yeah, they could add another layer.
hamburger junior later.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Crispy.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Hanging in there.
Okay, good. Thank you for joining us. We're just working through feedback.
You getting good grades?
Hey, man, B's get degrees, right?
Fucking C's
get degrees.
C's
Dude,
get degrees.
that's how I
Not
got
B's.
through.
Yeah. I mean, if
B's get like rogue
I
scholars.
answered 82% of the questions, so if I got them all right, I'm okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Did I remember the first time? I say the first time. The only time I took the SATs. You know, they always tell you bubble as you go.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And then like, all right, this section's done. Moving on to the next section. I didn't bubble anything. And I was like, well, fuck this. You're not the boss of me. I just went back and bubbled all my answers. I was like, there's no one to fucking stop me.
Just try and stop me.
Such a rebel. And our last bit of feedback this week comes from Shodan Man. He says, great podcast, guys. I particularly enjoy hearing Brad's enthusiasm for Let It Die. I myself have played the game for several hours and have found it to be a real solid and enjoyable experience.
This is dated feedback. Next week he's going to be, I played for 60 hours. Please make me stop.
Yeah. I can understand how some people have I can understand how some people from the outset will see this as just another roguelike with a pretty simple gameplay loop, but in reality, it actually has a great amount of depth in its multitude of systems to make the player want to push forward. I can see where Brad drew parallels with this and the Souls games, as the pacing of the combat and how you approach danger is very similar, just with the added Suda51 wackiness.
Mm-hmm.
I think the term Suda Souls should be a thing.
Suda Souls.
But I think we can kind of use that as a launching point. We can open with Let It Die.
Yeah, now that Crispy's here.
Now, because I know all three of y'all have been playing it. I have not yet played it myself, but
Shamefully. What do y'all think?
Don't, Nick.
So
don't do
good.
it.
Don't do it.
Don't.
I'm not
Don't do it.
I'm not starting.
This is not a Nick game, though, really.
Yeah, exactly.
do
This
you
is
mean?
not a Nick game.
It's
Nick
I
just
don't
wouldn't
know.
like it.
I don't-
Shut your fucking mouth, Crispy.
I'm just too.
We're trying to
dumb.
save
Although he is
Nick.
knocking, he's
Dude,
knocking
I
Souls
don't,
games
like-
out left and
yeah.
right.
I'm trying to save him.
I think he's
Because last week I said I wasn't going to play this.
But nobody
then
believed you.
Brad showed some footage, and I was like, yeah, it does look okay. And then I was like, oh, well, I finished Last Guardian Final Fantasy 15. I could boot this up for a couple hours and check it out. Now I'm fucking like 30 hours. I don't know how many. I don't know exactly how many, but I'm a lot of hours.
I hit 40 today.
I'm a lot of hours.
How's
in.
it going for you, Crispy? Are you playing it?
I don't have quite that many hours, but yeah, this is the only thing I'm playing. Really.
You're all balls deep in Let It Die.
This is the only thing I've played since
It's
last podcast.
free, Nick.
Except
You don't pay.
I like to pay for my games.
Yeah,
You
you're
can pay
like,
for it.
You're like, it's not on a disc.
You can pay for it. There's lots of stuff you can buy. That's right.
yeah, you could buy some lovely death metal. I'm so fucking tempted to to buy.
Well,
some
none of
death-
us
Wait.
here would spend real money on
Why
the death
would we
metal.
do that? Until you're on a very important run and you're like, oh, I don't have any death metals right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're not.
I'm-
God, I thought y'all were talking about death metal.
Listen, I played it for 40 hours. I'm not even
Are
halfway
you telling me
done.
there's not really death metal in this game?
No, there is.
Oh, dude,
No, they're
there's
called
Well, there's
death
also death
metals.
metals.
there's a
But is there actual death metal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
there
is.
is.
There's
Oh,
plenty
okay.
of
there's
metals.
a radio station that has
Yeah.
like 200 different songs, and most of them sound like Nick music.
Yeah. The soundtrack is really dope. in
It
this.
actually
It is
pretty
good. It's really
It
good.
is.
God damn it! You know, like every time I'm playing though, like I've been running really low on death metals most of the time
It's gonna
because
throw me off every time I hear y'all say this.
just death metals. Just think like metals. Only because when I die, I can't not spend one to revive. So I'm just burning through them like
I mean,
crazy. And I'm at the point right now where like I'm looking at the pricing structure for the death metals, and I'm like, do I think this game's worth $18? Like, if it had an $18,
This is worth the
price tag-
$60 game. I like how they have a $60
Yeah,
exactly. $60.
package.
yeah.
It's like, hey,
If you
$60 game.
feel like it's a
you get like
$60 game.
120 death metals.
Yeah.
Down or
I don't know why this keeps happening, but like last week, you and I were both super quiet, and then we
This
adjusted.
is why I always say I'm not like no.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to.
I moved it back.
I didn't mean to throw a wrench in there.
No, in that regard, I haven't been spending a whole lot of death metals on reviving myself. I think I've done it twice, mainly because I don't have many death metals because I spend them all fucking expanding my goddamn storage.
Yeah.
That is where all my death metals have
that's
gone
a big-
because
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I'm at 50. Oh, I need some more. Oh man, I'm at 100. Oh, I need some more. Oh man, 150. I need some more. Because
Here's
I'm
a tip.
constantly out of space.
Here's a tip. A lot of what will fill up your storage are materials for upgrading shit.
Yeah.
When you get to like higher levels and the materials start getting better
Well,
and better,
obviously, yeah.
just upgrade shit that you wouldn't normally upgrade. That's
to get
low
rid
level.
of it,
Just
yeah.
to get rid of it. Like that's the fastest way to open up space is just to upgrade shit because that doesn't cost you anything except for the materials, and you might actually discover that some people like what I've realized as I've been upgrading stuff is that some weapons and armor have like easier upgrade paths that don't require like the rarer metals.
Yeah. Right.
Like I noticed that with the iron and the machete and stuff. So I've been kind of, just spin this stuff,
Yeah.
But it does suck when you die and you have to spend the money to get it back. I've never actually died and gone to fight myself.
I have.
If you've done that, you just get the body back.
Yeah.
Correct. You just get the
You
character
lose
back.
everything, but-
You get the character in the state they entered the tower in, minus all the things they were carrying.
But okay, yeah.
So you don't get any
but
experience.
They don't get
back.
the XP or
Yeah.
any
wait.
money.
If you pay to revive your character,
You do.
You
get everything.
the experience.
You get everything but the experience.
okay.
Oh, what, really?
Yeah, you get the items and stuff, but you don't get the experience.
Because that's why I
experience is
spend
so-
death metals is because I'm going on a long ass run. I'm trying to get back safely, and I've got so much experience, and I've been leveling them up, and I'm like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna spend the death metal.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I do it because sometimes. So like my biggest pet peeve of this game so far that I've run into is that when you. So there's tiers of each class, right?
Yes.
Once you get up to a certain point, you've unlocked the next tier of character, which means
So
you should
to break it down for Nick, think of a Souls game. You go out, you collect souls,
Yep.
you come back to the bonfire, and you spend those souls
Yep.
to increase your level. Well,
It's a loop I'm very familiar with now.
Yes, but in this game, you start with grade 1 characters, and they have a limit. It's level 25. Once they hit level 25, they cannot go any higher.
Little cap.
Yeah, exactly. The higher you get in the tower, you will start unlocking higher grade characters, which can level up higher. So the grade 1 goes to 25, grade 2 goes to 50, grade 3 goes to 75, and I'm assuming there's more. I haven't personally seen more than that.
No, there's more. It goes up to 5, tier 5.
Okay.
Before you finish the game.
Yeah.
So the thing is though, once I've unlocked tier 3 characters, let's go pick a job class or whatever and level up from level 1, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't too hard to gain experience, but what I noticed is that you could be a level 1 on floor 1, but because they know you're tier 3, they'll put in a level 75 hater. And it makes exploring the lower levels, which you expect to be easy because, hey, I want to grind for some low-level materials that I may have missed, for some low-level blueprints, and it's all fine, easy, you're one-hitting everything, and then all of a sudden, you come across a level 75 hater with a machete and a nail gun, and you're just instantly dead.
I saw
Instantly.
Brad ran across like a really high level hater that had a nail gun, and each nail, the nail gun's like, each nail was doing 100 damage.
It makes
that.
it makes it to where I can't, like, it's just as stressful to explore down below than it is, like, I'm on floor 20
in
right
that
now.
situation, yeah, it's you just have to run from the haters.
But
Which
I hate
sucks.
that because
It sucks.
I don't want to.
I'm assuming haters are enemy types.
So no, so
They're like
so,
pawns.
Yeah, they're like, you think of Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
You have the pawn of like someone else that literally is someone else's character who has either died in their game and is now showing up in your game, or in your game, similar to how in Dragon's Dogma you could send your pawn, or people could call your pawns into their game. In this game, you can send your pawn into other people's games to invade them, like an invader in a Souls game.
Yeah.
But you don't control that; it's all AI controlled. But any kind of damage or anything they do, eventually they will come back to your game and give you like souls and money
Gotcha.
and items and stuff like that.
And some of them sound horrifying.
Yeah.
Like there's one lady one she just like
screams,
screaming.
yeah.
Just
All she does
I
is
want to
scream.
find out which model that is that does the scream. And there's one dude he's like, come on, man. He's just insane.
Yeah.
But
That's how you can tell. So the audio in this game is actually really in depth. So when you're exploring the world, there's general just sounds and stuff, and then you hear the sounds of screamers or the generic enemy type, and there's like, meh, 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 and then they see you, they'll scream like, and they run after you. They're like psychos from.
That sounds spooky.
this game is
It's kind of macabre.
From Borderlands. They're like psychos. But haters will like speak. They'll actually say words and stuff like that. So you can always tell if there's a hater nearby because they'll be saying like, but except for the one hater type that will just like scream. She just sounds like a crazy one. She's like,
I feel like that would freak me the fuck out.
it does. It freaks
She's
you out
real
because
scary.
you
That
can't.
one specifically.
You can't because the game's kind of mazy, and so sometimes you don't know exactly where they are, and you're trying to find them, and they're just screaming. Yeah, no, it can be kind of intense, but it is nice because you're on your guard. You're on the edge of your seat when you hear them, and you know something's about to go down.
I will say too, the higher level up you go in the tower, the level design started incorporating a lot more traps.
Oh god,
and not just like you walk into this area and it kind of locks you in, but like traps of like
the floor falling
of, like,
out from under you.
Yeah,
I
stuff like
hate
that.
shit. Oh,
like
my
it's
God.
very.
You'll just be walking down a hallway and all of a sudden the floor just collapses and you drop into a pit with a bunch of enemies.
Because like in Souls, if you get cornered in this game, well, you better hope you have some rage moves because holy shit.
Yeah.
I will say though that the crescent axe or whatever that I got has you saw me do the rage move that spins like a whirlwind, hits 3 times. That's really
so that's something similar to like a Souls game or whatever. There are so many weapon types in this game and so many types of armor and all this shit, and they're all pretty fucking unique. Armor and stuff not so much. It's just how it defends and stuff like that. But fuck you, Brad. Weapon types. There are so many weapon types, and they all have completely different move sets, and you use them differently. And like, I'm trying to think of another game that's similar to this, that it levels up the more you use it. What's a good,
like an Elder Scrolls?
Like an Elder Scrolls game. The more you use, a bow and arrow, that will level up. The more you use a sword, that will level up. So in this game, the more you use any specific weapon, so if you use hammers a lot, your mastery of hammers goes up, which means it will usually do more damage, and it'll take less stamina to use, and it will unlock new abilities and stuff like that. But the thing is, in this game, similar to like I guess Souls or whatever, you pick up things in the environment, but they all have quality, and the more you use it, it will go down in quality and eventually break and become useless. So in this game, if you craft something, it starts with like 100% quality and it will last a lot longer. Yeah. The problem is you can't just craft anything, you have to find blueprints for it. And finding blueprints is completely random. Yeah. You just happen to stumble across, like Brad was talking about, he did this at the beginning of the game, and like I found that machetes are very good, and I happened to find a machete blueprint very early in the game.
By the way, everyone finds out that machetes are really good the same way.
Yeah.
They get destroyed by a fucking hater.
A hater
with a machete.
dual-wielding machetes will come up and like hit you.
That looked like he was having fun.
Oh, that looked effective.
And so I started using machetes, and holy shit, they are effective.
You look like he had a really easy time killing me.
It is funny because, I'm using machetes, Nolan's using machetes. I'm getting wasted by people with machetes. And I see Nomachius in chat who's been playing like a ton of this game, like as much as I have. And he's like, I just want a machete blueprint.
Yeah. Because they're random. So there are people who play this game for 50, 60 hours and don't have a machete blueprint.
You know what this reminds me of? The fucking, was it the Winged Boots?
Yeah.
Was that the Winged Boots?
The Winged Boots,
in Castlevania?
Yeah. Harmony of Despair.
Although that was a game changer.
Remember,
if you didn't have Winged Boots, you might as well not be playing the game.
So like Namakius is like you were, because you were like the last one.
Well, there's a lot of good weapons. Like I got a longsword now, which is really good.
I don't have that.
It has a counter that I hit I put like 5k damage to it.
Dude, don't overthink it. The hammers are fucking great.
No, they're really great.
The hammers have been like pulling me through this tower.
If I don't have a machete, I bring a hammer. Yeah. Like hammer is my go-to besides machete. But the funny thing is there is, like I was saying, I brought it up a little bit, or Brad brought it up a little bit, similar to Metal Gear Solid 5, there's like a whole base defense system. Yeah. So people can raid your base and steal your supplies. Now, granted, they don't steal a whole lot. They just steal 10% of whatever you have in your bank of both gold and SP, we call it that. The kind of like
Splithium?
Yeah, Splithium. They steal 10% of that, and they steal, I guess, 10% of like whatever your current like Tokyo Death Metal, which is the whole like ranking system, rank. And so the thing is,
Tokyo Death Metro.
Thank you, Tokyo Death Metro. Thank you.
That was Team Deathmatch.
Whatever. There's so many fucking acronyms. Yeah. But anyway, so you can set up any of your pawns. You can set them up as defense. And one time when I left the game, so they were just going to be sitting around doing nothing, I put them all on defense. And I noticed that one guy attacked my base 5 times, and he failed all 5 times. And the great thing is you can watch a replay of how he moved and whatever. And I saw him running around. And he always killed the first 2, and the third guy always killed him. And the third guy was my level 50 collector dual-wielding machetes. Always killed him every time. And I was like, dude, why did he keep attacking me? He failed 5 times.
I'm going to say this. Dual-wielding machetes is not even like necessarily more effective than a single machete, but it looks so much scarier. It looks so much scarier.
Yeah, when someone comes at you and they're carrying 2 machetes, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
You're just like, nope, fuck everything about this.
Well, it is more effective in blocking. Because machetes are very effective blocking weapons, and if you're blocking with 2... Oh, yeah, their blocking rank is, I think, an S. Or at least mine are, at the rank they're at. Like,
I noticed people using, like, a machete and an iron, because the iron's R1 or L1 or whatever is a perfect guard.
Yeah.
No, at first he just shot out a tiny little steam, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a perfect guard. I've seen people using it as a shield, which is cool. I kind of want multiplayer in this, which I
understand why it's not
just
there.
to try it out. I never played I didn't play much multiplayer in like a Souls game, but
that would be cool.
I kind of just want to see if these mechanics would hold up in a versus setting.
I just think they
because there's cool weapons.
They couldn't handle the network issues. I mean, that's a whole another layer of difficulty, having network problems, and that's something that often happens with Souls games. Is just people fucking get frustrated because of lag and this and that, and that's just very difficult, especially in a Souls. And this is don't say this is not a Souls-like game. This is very much. If you go up to an enemy, just la-di-da-di-da, he's only level 3, you can still get destroyed. You have to be fucking careful all the time.
And the thing is, even if you have like a really high defense and a lot of hit points, if you're getting hit, like your damage, I mean your items are getting degraded pretty quickly. So you got to be careful.
Have you used the attacker class at all?
No,
I don't get this. It's like a glass cannon type class. They have a lot of strength, but my maxed out grade 2 attacker had fucking 300 HP. Max. That's as high as it'll go.
I do strikers, shooters. If I'm just dealing damage, I don't do attackers.
Well, as soon as I figured that, you do if you can one hit almost anything. But if someone gets a jump on you or a bunch of enemies show up, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Fuck that.
I'm a collector guy, but I started using a lucky star today that supposedly spawns more.
Hey, my lucky star got me a whole lot of luck until I fought Jin Dai and it fucking destroyed me.
That's a tough version of her.
I mean, I was only level 34. Maybe if I had leveled up a little more, I might have had an easier time.
Is anyone using all-arounder?
Not anymore.
They have higher stat caps?
I think they do. I started using them early on because that's all you have. But then as soon as I started unlocking the other class types, like you were saying, I've been doing a lot of collector just because this is a game where you're fucking collecting everything. And you are a hoarder in this game.
It's a trash game.
Yeah, when you go
it's about picking up trash and putting trash on your body until it breaks, and then buying some slightly better trash.
Yeah.
It's all trash.
Yeah, it is.
It's great.
But you never throw the trash away.
No, it breaks.
Yeah, it breaks.
Or you wait until the broken trash.
You wait until it's about to break, and then you sell it for basically nothing.
That's what would make it a hoarder game if you were keeping the broken trash.
But yeah, so Nick, most classes have maybe somewhere between 18 and 20 inventory slots, so you can but that includes your left-handed weapon is 1, your right-handed weapon is 1, headgear, body gear, pants gear. All of a sudden you're up to 5-6 slots, so you have maybe 12 slots of shit you can pick up, whereas the collector has closer to 30, and then maybe if you used a pass you have more. So it's I don't
all my passes.
I
can't even
so you get the one direct hell express pass for free when you start the game.
you get 2.
Well, you know what you should do? Even if you don't have time to play it, log on. Because you get log on.
Yeah, log on every day.
I've been given. I think I've had 3 total actually.
Fuck you.
You've gotten them as login bonuses?
I have. I've gotten 2 direct day passes as login bonuses.
I've used them all though.
I was gonna say, how do you get more? Do you have? Can you only spend real money?
As of right now, you can't buy any passes.
They haven't updated.
Oh,
it yet.
you just
correct. As of right now, you can't.
What they give you.
So Nick, to explain a pass, because we keep talking about it, they have a system in the game called express passes, and then they have day express passes. And how they work is when you use one for at least a day pass, you have 24 hours from the time you use it until 24 hours later, where you can use an express elevator in the game which is a free elevator. The normal elevator, you have to pay to move between floors, and the higher you go, the more expensive the elevator gets.
Yeah.
So if you go from floor 1 to 2, it's like 120 gold, but from floor 1 to 20 is like I don't know, 2,000 something gold.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big jump. So that gives you free access to that. You have more inventory slots,
That's the
best part about it.
That's the big one.
And there's a couple other things you get with the day pass, like little things, nothing
I'm not
too
sure.
important. But the real express pass gives you 30 days of that, but that's not out yet. And I'm
How much
curious
do you
how
think
much
that
that's
is?
gonna. I think it's gonna be at least $5, maybe 10.
For 30 days?
Yeah.
I'd spend $5 on that in a second. Fuck.
Well, that
Right?
you know what?
Shit.
Right?
Yeah, like
If Brad hasn't actually spent $60 in this game by the time by the end of the year, I'm gonna be surprised.
But like this is a game like if they sold decal packs with like a guaranteed like permanent decal.
So there
Oh,
are
that's
like there are
awesome.
decals in this game, and they're like they're stickers that you put on your body.
Yeah.
That give you stat bonuses.
They look so fucking cool. If they sold some of these in real life, there's some really cool looking ones.
No,
Because they're like glossy, like a hologram, like 90s stickers. I don't know how to describe them, but
Like, they almost look kind of like Pog-esque,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like
Pog?
holographic Pokemon cards.
yes.
There's some cool looking
Yeah,
All right.
and the thing is, they're random. You just randomly get them from either buying them or from mushroom stews.
The fucking mushroom lady. I'm nominating her now for
The
one
mushroom
of the best characters of the
magistrate?
year.
yeah, dude, she
Nothing
fucking
makes sense without a mushroom. Yeah, she's just awesome.
yeah.
There is no hope. There is no joy.
She's pretty clever.
She's
yeah.
so good.
Her- she's
All the characters are really
yeah.
like,
Dude, I love when you randomly
Don't make me play this, guys.
don't play it.
dude,
Don't
Yeah.
play it.
play
Play
it January 1st.
It's
This
too
is the only
hard for
good
you,
game
Nick.
out there
Fuck
right
you.
now. It's the only good game there is right now.
The thing is, you randomly find mushrooms in the world, and you can consume them for health or benefits or whatever. But
or
sometimes,
to explode.
yeah, when your character is like eating them, sometimes like I love mushrooms. Like random shit like that is just so funny in this game. But no, like what Crispy was saying was a big issue I ran into is because the control scheme in this game. This is the most I've ever used the touchpad in any fucking game.
What do you use it
Because
for?
you use the touchpad to interact with items. So either to throw an item or to consume a consumable item, you use the touchpad. But the problem with that is, left to throw, right to consume. And the problem with that is I was simultaneously playing Final Fantasy 15 and this, and in Final Fantasy 15, touchpad is the menu.
Yeah.
So I use that a lot. And so when I started playing Let It Die, I was like, oh, let me go into the menu.
I keep thinking,
Consume.
Click the touchpad and consume a boom shroom, which fucking does 200 something damage. Like I killed
you just
myself
eat a grenade and
multiple
it
times.
blows up.
Yeah, which
There's
sucks
so
that you can
much
do that.
Like I was shocked how deep this game is. Like with the whole system of cooking
Cooking?
things or
Yeah.
killing things or getting their mushrooms. Like you find if you find like a pill bug, if you attack it, it'll like curl up into a ball. But if you stomp on it and land on it, it'll flatten him. And then if you kill him, he'll turn into the mushroom, which will be the life shroom.
Which is
but
a great
if you
one.
just cook them, you just eat them for health. I mean, like it's surprisingly deep.
The way
it's-
the reason
it's
the
deep
life
with
shroom is important, Nick, the life shroom, is because if you consume one, when you die, you come back to life with half your health
Yeah, instantly.
instantly, which is fucking
It's
really
very important.
convenient.
So you can eat it preemptively.
Yes.
You know what's also so cool about the animals in this game is they had this. They sound like
Oh,
insane.
all that- yeah.
Like all the rats make rattlesnake sounds.
Nick, do you know?
in the fucking scorpions? They're like crazy people. They're like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like they say so sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry. So sorry.
So sorry.
The
yeah,
fu-
yeah.
The frogs.
There's frogs?
The frogs sound like
The
like
frogs
what
sound
you were saying.
exactly like Captain Ginyu. When Captain Ginyu was in the Frog Buddy in Dragon Ball Z, that is
Yeah.
exactly what the frogs sound like in this game.
That's hilarious. Well,
They go like ghetto.
It's cool. There's so much to
So
talk
it-
about,
it's-
but all I'm
it
saying
sounds
is
like a-
it's free. It's if you've ever liked
it sounds like a
Souls
Suda
combat,
game.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a Suda
or
game.
if you like
Dude,
crazy
I-
Suda stuff, it's dope.
some of the
I
boss.
haven't even. I didn't get into the last two Suda games, and this one has like
Have you fought the first boss yet? The first
the first
Cohen
real boss,
or
No,
it's
Max.
crazy.
Max. No,
So first
I'm on
off,
floor 6.
okay, so he's on floor 10. So first off, the boss battle is not just it's like a fucking arena. It's like a fucking thing. You're like.
You're jumping from,
spoiler.
like, train to
There's
train.
two trains running next to each other, and you're jumping between them trying to get to the boss. And the boss, leading up to the boss, is this fucking cutscene of the boss talking about like all this shit. But the entire thing is like people, they like, I guess when they made this, they cut out cardboards and fucking decorated them, designed them, and it's fucking like almost like a puppet show, and it's like really in depth, and then it has like a puppet of the boss, but his mouth is replaced by like animation of someone talking.
Like the Conan O'Brien?
Yeah, it is so in depth. It is like I was like Brad was saying. Like the more I play this game, I'm like, holy shit, this is a free to play game.
The personality of the game is like what hooked me.
Yeah,
like is what like wanted me to like.
I mean, honestly,
with
any Suda game,
it's
like
so
personality.
Fuck, man.
Personality goes a long way.
Every
in Suda
little
games.
thing about like just the little touches, like when you get in the Tokyo Death Metro and you go find another like player's base to raid, it shows your character getting on the subway train, and as it's like rocketing out of the station, like the sign on top like flips around and switches to that player's gamer tag.
Who you're about to invade. Like that's the next stop.
Have y'all looked up the voice cast for this game?
Yes, dude, it's fucking. They have a lot. There is a lot. You read some of them. There's a lot of people.
One of the player characters is Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams voices one of the player
sure.
characters. Do you know who the narrator of this game is? Mark Hamill. What? Yeah. Mark Hamill's the narrator.
Yeah, Tracy Lords is the player character.
What?
Yes, dude.
Are you
they
fucking
got a lot of people.
Who plays
They don't
Uncle,
even say anything. They
No
just
one
say
big.
like
Uncle Death?
No one
mushrooms.
big.
No one?
But
Like they don't even really say anything.
But Uncle Death.
Tracy Lord.
Does Uncle Death not remind you of Strong Bad?
Dude, Uncle Death is like character of the year.
Dude,
right now.
he's pretty fucking awesome.
He's so fucking good.
Oh no, I lost.
Mostly
Oh
the
yeah,
mushroom
but
bag.
Yeah, all right. Fuck. Sorry, guys. You had me at Tracy Lord.
real
I'm
quick,
gonna download this
real
game.
quick. One of the funniest things. So you invade other people's bases, and sometimes you can kidnap one of their player characters.
Yeah.
And if they're on defense, and you bring
so
them back to
good.
your base and keep them in your jail, like which is a cell and a bathroom.
It's-
but the funny thing
it's-
is
oh.
when you carry them back to the train and throw them on, the cutscene of you driving back to your station is just you chilling in one of the train's
With, like,
chairs,
the
and their
unconscious
body's just
body.
unconscious on the floor.
But like when they're at your base and they're in their cell, you're like reprogramming them to be like another blank fighter that you can use. So they're in a yellow body bag with like belts strapped around them, and they have like a VR headset that has like this little progress bar on it, and they're sitting on this weird looking toilet that like H.R. Giger like fucking designed that has all these tubes and hoses and shit like plugged into them. Like it's so, everything looks so fucking cool and like just really stylistic. I love it.
The
It's so
fighters
good.
Vern Troyer is one of the jackals.
Yeah, Vern Troyer. Yes, Vern Troyer is one of the jackals.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes, dude, there are so many big actors. I'm like so surprised.
How do they afford that many fucking actors?
Probably like Brad said, they don't have that many lines. It's
Yeah.
like I'm sure they
Yeah, like,
recorded
no
all of it
lines.
in like an hour-long
What is
session.
this game? This is by far the biggest, most ambitious production Grasshopper's ever done.
Yeah.
It's free to play. Their last game, like Killer is Dead, that was just like thrown together. That was easily like their lowest like profile thing, and now they've been working on this for years. This was originally called something different. It was like it had a weird
Yeah, I know. I know.
name.
It was a really weird name. Yeah, before they renamed it. Yeah.
called. I don't remember.
There's something I wanted to bounce off you guys because I'm a little confused story wise in this game.
Sure.
So
Me too.
The Hater Arcade or the Hate Arcade, right? Which is the arcade that you, the player, are in
So, Nick,
playing the game.
By the way, this is
Let
a
It
game
Die.
in a game.
Yeah.
Everything you saw Brad doing earlier, Brad was playing a game
Yeah.
in the game. It's like gameception.
There's an arcade that you're sitting in that you play the game, and you can go back out to that arcade to get like missions and tips about how to play it and like learn a little bit more about the world. But does that arcade also in like the world of the Tower of Barbs?
Oh, it could be. I have
could
no
be.
idea.
I don't know if it
I'll
is.
tell you this much.
I feel like
I've
what's
seen,
the point of that cutscene at the beginning with the direct hell lady like driving to work because she's like, oh, it's gonna be a busy day. Like if that's
good
not a
question.
real world,
I have,
It's so
I have
fucking
run into
confusing.
Uncle Death.
Yeah, the fact that you can run into Uncle Death
Yeah.
in the Tower of Barbs.
Oh, you can.
And anytime you get a new fighter, it shows a train
It's-
pulling
it's
up with
him, like,
the fucking
pulling the
body,
body
bag,
bag,
and him
yeah.
like doing that goofy
But
little walk.
I love that like all of your respawns are just like bodies like in a freezer.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're,
Wee
like,
Man is one of the voices.
Yeah, Wee Man. Thank you. That's another
Really?
one. Wee Man voices another fucking player
This is
character.
bizarre.
It's so weird.
And of course, Steve Bloom.
Steve Bloom.
I fucking love this game. It has cured me of my end of year slump that I was
Good.
struggling with. I don't give a shit about anything else that's come out.
Well, that might be
Like, I
bad.
just want to play this.
But at least you found a game.
Well, I'm glad y'all are enjoying it, and perhaps I will give it a shot. I don't know if I'm going to do it before the end of the year
Yeah.
because Lord knows
Yeah, that's a
there's
bad
still
idea.
so much fucking stuff that I need to play. Are we ready to move on? Is there anything else you wanted to add about Let It Die. I'm sure we'll revisit it again.
You know what I
The
want?
Mushroom Magistrate was in Hunger Games.
Nice. You know what I want to happen? I want the servers to go down for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I
You
can't
don't understand.
So I can't play.
It's been so bad. I've had this time off.
Do you have
in
to
the
have
middle-
an internet connection
Yes.
to play this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's very server
It's
because
an
it's
online
one of those like you die. I mean everything's all your info's saved on the server.
Yeah, so it has to be. Yeah.
Shit. No, I've been like having these days off, right? Because I've been on weekends, and I'm like, okay, I'll play Let It Die today. I'll use my Express Pass, but tomorrow it's gonna be a Dishonored day, all Dishonored all day long.
Fuck
It
that. That's
hasn't
not
happened ever since I started playing this. It's been this every day.
So
That's like
good.
me. Last night I was gonna play Watch Dogs 2, but then Watch Dogs 2 wouldn't fucking work, and I was like, I guess I have to play Let It Die.
Yeah, dude, fuck that shit, man. Let it die. Oh, it's so good.
Look, I'm pressing the space bar. It's just not working.
it's just not. I'm gonna play Let It Die.
I mean, that being said, I do have the chat logs from Uplay where I was trying to get the Uplay representative to help me get the game working. So I actually did try to play Watch Dogs 2.
Or so you say. All right. Well, I played a game
Me too.
that I like to talk. Oh yeah, you did play it.
Yeah, I played about.
I would
6
like to
hours,
briefly
yeah.
talk. Did you really play that much?
Wait, what game?
Oh no! I was in a transition into Resident Evil 7.
Oh,
I was like, holy shit! You played that demo for 6 or 7 hours.
No.
Jesus.
So
I did play it though.
I wanted to bring up Resident Evil 7, maybe even ever so briefly,
Okay.
because they've updated the demo
Yep.
twice now. And this was with this most recent update, they updated it and added VR support, which is for me, since this game was announced, since we knew it was going to be playable in VR, since we played the
You
kitchen
were
demo,
excited.
I was worried because. So I played Here They Lie. That was one of the big games we played during the horror marathon. I really enjoyed it, but one thing I really while I was playing that, I was more like impressed by the tech, but I was also like, I'm really worried that the future of VR is going to be all like quick cuts, like how it's forcing the player to like when you turn the camera, it does that quick fade where you turn like 45 degree angles, which can be really distracting. And I hear they do that obviously because if you turn that off and you just have this free range of movement in VR, it's making a lot of people sick.
I think it gives people cancer.
I don't think it gives them cancer.
Brain cancer.
okay.
I heard it.
It gives them motion sickness, which wasn't really a problem for me in Here They Lie because of that. So I was really nervous that if we ever got to that point when we were playing VR and we were doing it without those quick cuts, it was going to be a problem. Or maybe we were never ever going to reach that point. I was worried that maybe the future of the tech was just, that was going to be it. It turns out you can play the entirety of Resident Evil 7 with the quick cuts, or you can turn them off and have complete free range of movement. You're essentially...
Nice that you have the option.
You're moving the character with the analog sticks, and you're looking around, and the character is moving where you are looking. Which I played probably an hour and a half of the demo. Actually finished the demo. I got a different ending. And they've added additional areas to the demo.
Were you welcomed to the family?
I was welcomed. Well, yeah, I guess I was welcomed to the family. But the main reason I wanted to talk about it was because, one, I do know this is going to make some people nauseous.
Oh, of course.
It did not make me nauseous.
Some people just, VR is currently in a state where it is not perfect. It has issues, and depending on the person, you can.
The thing is, you can
Some
play
people
it.
don't get seasick.
You can play it with the quick cuts, which should alleviate that for some people.
It's
Maybe not entirely.
I think there's going to be a decent portion of the population that just doesn't deal well with VR.
Have you ever been deep sea fishing?
No,
Yes.
I
have.
have not.
Yeah, me too. I was not great with it.
Wait, where's the connection with the deep sea fishing?
He's
here?
saying getting
nauseous.
seasick.
I'm saying some people
off,
don't
yeah.
get it, and
Some
some
people-
people do.
Well, there's something about controlling the camera independent of the character's movement, and one of them is being controlled with your actual head movement. That's
it's all brain versus body.
No, it's all what's
Yeah.
going on in your head versus what your body's feeling. What Brad was talking about, like when I was in Greece, we took multiple like sailing excursions where we went out, and the captain always told people, "Hey, if you go below deck, don't stay there too long." Because that whole like motion, but not seeing exactly what's going on, throws people off.
Yeah.
But I went down below deck multiple times, and I was down there for half an hour. I never had any issues.
Yeah.
So just personally for me, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But there are people who just
And I know a lot of
doesn't
people
gel well.
who did play this demo said they got really sick.
Yeah.
Or they felt really sick. And there was even a few moments where I was playing it and I was kind of like, whoa, that was a weird sensation. And I was like, I had to kind of stop and get. But the reason that I wanted to bring it up was because I'm very happy that I played an hour and a half straight without quick cuts, complete free range of movement, moving around. Pretty much just like playing a first person game. You just happen to be using your head to move around, and obviously you have that level of immersion. And I am super excited for this game now.
That's good.
Now, I mean, you always.
I mean, I was, but I was also worried. I was very worried. Not there's other reasons this demo I think alleviates some of the concerns I had.
So let me ask you, how does it look in VR?
It looks good. It looks like.
Does it look the same? Because all the experiences I've had so far have either been only VR games. Mm-hmm. You know, I should say they look better out of VR than they do in VR.
I think.
Does this look better out of VR than it does in VR? Or is there not much of a difference?
I think, okay, so when you play any game in VR, you're kind of taking a hit on the resolution you're swapping a little bit of resolution for the immersion, right?
Yeah.
So from a technical standpoint, the games in VR are always going to maybe look a little fuzzier or a little bit, it's not going to look quite as sharp.
Is it scarier in VR?
Yes. Without a doubt. 100%.
Like, is it so good where I should, wait for you to finish Resident Evil 7, then borrow the PSVR, and then play it in VR?
I mean, here's the thing. After playing the demo in VR, I am absolutely 100%. My goal is to play this game from start to finish in VR.
Yeah.
Can you play the demo without the VR?
Yes. In fact, the footage that we recorded tonight, I was recording without the VR.
Have you gotten a sense of, does the game have to be played a little differently if you're using VR versus if you're just doing because in VR you're using your head to control the camera, but without that without VR you're just using sticks to control the camera.
It feels
so
less
the
responsive.
Responsiveness would probably be significantly reduced.
Yes,
right?
It does feel less responsive. That was one thing I was when I was recording the footage of the VR. I feel like you turn a little slower. You maybe have your reaction time to certain things is a little bit slower. VR, it feels a little more fluid.
But aiming. You said it works good in VR, but I'm sure that's not going to be more responsive than all the aiming we've been doing dual analog style for the past 15 years.
You do pick up a gun in the demo. In VR, wherever the gun is, wherever the center of your line of sight, wherever the center of where you're looking, that is where you're aiming. Mm-hmm. So I was able to aim really, I thought.
So in that regard, really cool. Is there kickback? Do you fucking?
That's the problem. When I played the demo, I didn't realize I was about to get the ending.
Yeah.
So I never actually fired the gun.
Yeah. Oof.
And the shitty thing is,
you had so many bullets.
You finish the demo, you only had 5 bullets. When you pick up one of those things of bullets, it's only giving you 1 bullet.
It's a box of bullets
with 1 bullet in it.
1 bullet.
Oh.
I mean, maybe that's for the sake of the demo.
So that's
I don't know.
kind of game.
The thing is, they've said in multiple interviews and stuff, as of recently especially, that they're really pushing the survival aspects. They're pushing the survival stuff back into it. So yeah, ammo is going to be very, very scarce. In fact, the funny thing, and there's a clip of this if you have not seen it yet, because I was playing it last week. I was playing the demo for probably a good 45 minutes, and we've seen. You're playing the demo and you can see a ghost every once in a while, and or what we think is a ghost. You can see people walk by hallways and stuff, and there's the moments where the demo ends, where you walk out a door or whatever, and you get attacked by one of the family member dudes. Mm-hmm. But there was never any
monsters.
There's never monsters, right?
Biohazards.
So I played the demo for 45 minutes with nothing happened, nothing like that happened, and then suddenly I walk into a room. I was completely unprepared for it. Turned a corner, and a fucking monster came out of nowhere.
That thing was terrifying.
The shit out of me, and not to mention it was in VR, so it was even more fucked up.
Did it seem larger?
Yeah.
Oh, always. Yeah. Everything in VR just
definitely seem larger.
That's the thing. Whenever, and for those of you who haven't had a good chance to mess with VR and stuff, anytime you're looking at a TV screen, you can always tell. It's kind of far away from you. Whatever. The fucking VR, it's right in front of your eyes. So yeah, everything seems I don't want to say larger than life, but it seems like real life. It seems like it's right there. So yeah, I could understand why you kind of freaked out.
Yeah, it freaked the fuck out of me. It was just funny because not having any combat experience, I was suddenly thrust into a situation. All I had at the time was an axe, so I had to fucking beat this thing down with an axe. And the enemy you encounter in the demo is kind of like the what were the regenerators in Resident Evil 4?
Mm-hmm.
Like large lumbering.
They just kind of look
looking,
like maybe like a Resident Evil Revelations fucking.
Yeah,
enemy.
maybe. But it was probably the most Resident Evil fucking thing I've seen in the demo so far. It did feel very Resident
It was
Evil.
refreshing.
It was refreshing. It was nice.
Because other than that, it's killer zombie hillbillies.
True, but what I'm really excited about is I think the pacing is really nice. I think the fact that there is definitely an emphasis on puzzle solving. Mm-hmm. There is the combat is, as far as I can tell right now, it's few and far between. It feels a little more like Resident Evil 1 remake, where the enemy encounters are going to be more sporadic.
The members of that family seem like they would be really racist or something.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah,
racist against
that makes sense. But yeah, I finished the demo. I got a different ending. In fact, I feel like I actually completed the demo at this point, so I'm pretty good. I think until the game releases in January. But
Jesus, that's so soon.
It's soon, and there are press that have already gotten their hands on a 4 or 5 hour demo of the game. Mm-hmm. So
they've encountered what, like 3 zombies?
Well, I mean, like we were talking a few weeks ago about how this game can't possibly be coming out in January, but
yeah, it still seems this could still slip.
It could, but I don't think it's going to slip far. I mean, if you can play a 4 or 5 hour chunk of the game, they're letting the press play that at this point. Like they've got to be getting close.
That's true. I mean, that is true because I doubt the game is going to be. It's probably going to be like an 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah. I hope it sticks. I hope it sticks in January because past January things start to get really fucking crowded.
I mean, January's already.
Yeah,
Gravity Rush 2.
February is gonna be crazy. Neo comes out. Horizon comes out in February. I'm sure like 2 or 3 other things that I'm just not thinking off the top of my head. I think this would be for me. I feel like
March.
I feel like this would be a great way to start the year, and I'm really really super excited. Which is weird saying, 'cause I just haven't felt this excitement about Resident Evil in a very long time.
We could be playing Mario 128 in March.
We could. So yeah, that's Resident Evil 7. Well, I'm sure I'll be talking. As I mentioned several times during my stream, I will be playing Resident Evil 7 on launch night in VR, and I'm probably gonna do my best to stream the whole thing as I'll probably finish it up the weekend after it releases, but I'll be doing the whole stream in VR, assuming I can, unless something happens and I get nauseous or something along the way. But look forward to that. I think it comes out January 24th. That's what it's slated for right now. Anyways, I think we have one more game to talk about that we've all been playing.
Well, I had 2 games to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Well, before we do that one, let's revisit The Last Guardian a little bit. I know we've all played it. No one's finished it. I think I'm pretty close to finish. I was trying to finish it last night, but it got to be about 1 o'clock, and I was like, I got to go to bed. So, I know even Crispy's been playing it, right? I mean, then Let It Die happened, and then I don't know if Crispy stuck with it.
I red boxed it and played about the first 2 hours, and then I started Let It Die. So that's all I played.
So what do you think, Crispy? I mean, we kind of spoke on it last week.
I mean, I was pretty negative about it last week. Not negative, but how can I put this? Lacking faith last week.
Oh, yeah.
Having messed around with it a little bit, I feel softer towards the game for its flaws. I get that it's
trying to do something
kind of
different.
It's kind of like an artistic thing that's trying to do something, and you know what, you're right, they are doing something completely different than what anybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. It is definitely new, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. I feel like everyone talks about the creatures like Trico's AI. And that's like the big conversation is the AI. Oh, it feels really lifelike and realistic. It feels like I'm really dealing with an animal, or this AI is ruining my experience of this game. Like all the conversation seems to be revolving around that. I do think that like your connection with Trico is part of the main idea of the game.
Well, yeah,
is part of like the main.
Pivot on what you just said there. Because if I wanted to focus this conversation especially after spending at this point like 10 hours or something with the game, what stands out to me the most and what has really driven my enjoyment of the game far more than anything is the bond I feel with that creature, especially over the course of it. Like, I am fucking in love with that fucking. I don't think I've felt a bond with a partner character in a game. I think the closest thing I can think of is Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us. Like, I care about that creature. When things happen to that creature, it hurts.
What about when you hit it with a barrel in the face?
I feel like an asshole because that's happened like 3 or 4 times. I saw you do it in the footage.
Malia gets mad at me when I do that.
I
felt like I was trying to get him good at catching them. I don't know.
But the point that I'm trying to say is that bond, like what you're talking about, is the point of the game. Is like the thesis of what the creator was trying to go for.
So much the focus that they have stripped away any other aspect of that game. There is no gaminess to this game.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. And I still kind of feel like the mechanics and the technicalities of making that work do sometimes get in the way of like achieving that goal. Like the way the creature acts sometimes makes it harder to play the game, makes it harder for me to be interested in the game, makes it harder for me to forge that emotional link that they want me to forge. Honestly, at this point, I'm still looking at Trico and maybe I'm just dead inside, but like I don't like I just feel like I need you to do this so I can finish the game. Not like, oh buddy, how you doing? You know?
You're a monster.
Yeah, I'm a monster, I guess.
It sucks that this came out at the end of the year when we're all trying to like, gotta get through this game. Gotta get through it.
Yeah, I mean that's a big point.
It's because this is a game that you have to be patient with, or you're gonna have a bad time.
The problem is like I'm stuck in this mode where like I can look at this game and I can look at the characters, I can look at the story, I can look at the level design and the environment, and I can see the craftsmanship. I can see that that a team of people put a lot of heart and soul into building this game. Like I can see that this isn't just some commercial product. This isn't some easy target here. But this isn't Call of Duty. You know?
Yeah.
This game exists because there was a specific emotional message or emotional link that the creator wanted to get across to a player. Right?
Wait, what?
What?
What'd you say, Nolan?
Nothing.
He's trolling.
You derailed me. Oh god damn it! I can see. My point is, I can see that craftsmanship, and I can appreciate it for being what it is, but it hasn't like resonated with me. Like I haven't.
And it's not going to resonate with everybody.
To me, like that sort of like resonance that I feel with a game when I really like get into it, kind of manifests itself in a desire to know what's going on beyond the screen. You know, like to know what's going on with the world, what's going on with kind of like the greater lore of the world, and I haven't. Nothing about this game is making me care about that. Really,
man, that's
like,
yeah. I mean,
I'm fucking balls deep in the caring, man.
Yeah, this is the caring couch.
Yeah, I don't know.
The caring couch.
I mean, I get it, and I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the developers
the best game.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you want to talk about like Team Ico as far as how they've crafted their games, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to compare a Team Ico game to anything else. Like if you're going to be comparing it on gameplay merit, I feel like they have to be.
Well, there is Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom.
Yes, true. But like, if I was,
buddy,
if you're going to compare this game to anything, I feel like it has to be compared to Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and I feel like Shadow of the Colossus is still by far the pinnacle of like their the crowning achievement of their.
This is Uncharted 3.
What?
Shadow of the Colossus is Uncharted 2.
I mean,
stop
and Ico is Uncharted.
I mean, that's not.
I think I like Ico more than Shadow of the Colossus because I think Ico is a worse game, and I think Shadow of the Colossus is much more innovative, but Ico's the one I connected with more, and I feel like that's why you play a team.
I mean, there's definitely a lot, like maybe even more so than some games. Like when we have a conversation about this game, a lot of it has to do with like the emotional baggage that we're bringing into it. You know, I think a lot of this has to do with
out of it.
or taking out of it. Right.
Or
but what I'm
dropping it
saying is
off at
so
the
much
train
more.
station.
Like I think your experience with this game is gonna be much like everyone's experience is gonna be much more varied because of what it is. You know.
True.
Well, because it's not like, hey, well, Souls Combat's good. Souls Combat's
Right.
good. I mean, it's like you're not. It's
Right.
not asking for the same thing.
Right.
It's not. It's a video game because we pop it in our
everything
PS4,
that people
but
who
it
are
is
latching
not-
on to this are latching on to is like the much more subjective elements of the game.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because
Also-
I think the subjective elements of the game are what are successful because, but the thing is the subjective stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
that is the definition of
the
subjective.
definition of subjective.
I totally get why someone would be really into this game. I get why someone could see something in this game that reflects back on them in a very like resonant way. Like I get that. Like I get where someone could maybe just by virtue of where they are in their life at the moment that they play this game means something to them. I 100%
it doesn't even
get
have to
that.
be that deep.
No, I know.
I mean, some people just really love animals.
Some people are having really profound like connections with this game, and I get that,
need to
and
finish
I don't begrudge anybody that at all. It's just I'm not really having that, so all I'm left with are the mechanics of the game, and the mechanics of the game for me really aren't like good enough to
But I
pull
will
me
say,
through.
like, if you maybe play it more,
I
like,
think
maybe it'll grow.
that's fair.
Because I keep going back to Eco. When I first played Eco, that was just largely a frustrating experience.
That's
with
the
me.
thing is,
that's
and until
fair.
Yorda pushed the boat, that's
Yeah.
when I was like, oh.
That's absolutely fair. I
Eco.
think the fact that maybe I just haven't played as much of it could be a huge factor in all of this. But at the same time, I also kind of rationalize that as being like, this isn't a game I think about when it's off. So there's nothing really
That's
compelling me to play it more.
See, I think
You know?
I think that's telling. I mean, I think I've been thinking about this game ever since I started it. So I think
Yeah.
it's not going to connect with everybody. I will say, like, as far as the mechanics and the gaming aspect, the game aspect of it goes, as the game progresses, some of those puzzles, like the solutions to some of those puzzles,
Right.
and the way in which they communicate it to you or don't communicate it to you, and you have to kind of figure it out, are brilliant. Like they're like. There is an example of a puzzle. I don't want to spoil and say this. Let's just say there's a big empty room with a big space in the ceiling, and there's like a teeter totter on the floor, and like you have to use physics, and they don't tell you to do that. And I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. There's no way. I had to somehow get this creature to do this, to work together with this creature to solve this puzzle, and I don't even know how to communicate this to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sat there and made like hand movements, like, "Hey, come here, do this, do this," while I'm standing here. And he looked at me funny, and then he kind of turned away. And I was like, "No, come back." And like those interactions where you're trying to like, no, focus for a second,
Nick,
focus.
Hold on, Brad.
And then he did it, and it worked. And my fucking brain just I was like,
Guesstimate
no
how
way.
long you think you took to finish that puzzle from when you started teaching him to when he did it.
5 minutes.
20 minutes. I have video footage.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to call you a liar.
No, I know,
Everyone's
I
experience
know.
will be different.
But that is my problem with this game. Is there are not one, not two, not three, dozens of instances where I have solved the puzzle. I know what I need to do to finish this area, and getting him, it just doesn't work. I'll do this. I'll jump here. I'll jump over here. I rearrange things. I jump. I do this. I do. He just doesn't do it. He stares at me like I'm a fucking idiot, and just doesn't do anything.
And I think that's
But you're solving
I can
puzzles with hide. So like it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. And I there was an instant. I think the longest I've had. I think I had like 10, 15 minutes. There was one, and it was one where it was where the one where he was kind of swimming around. The room with the big pool of water, kind of threw me off, and that's probably the longest I had. But I can see why, and I can see there are probably gonna be a lot of people who just happen to have a harder time, and it's not because anyone's better at the game. It just might be happening. They might get lucky, in terms of.
But that's my
that?
I don't know. The fucking there's a screamer.
There's a
in the other
hater.
room. There's a hater in the other room. But my problem with this game, Nick, is the AI seems to be very dependent on you being in a place at a time to work properly, which I think is really silly. That thing you're talking about, I dare you to go and watch the YouTube video I posted.
No,
Hold on, Nick, hold on. And not be frustrated for 25 minutes.
I already had a non-frustrating experience. Why would I want to swap that with a frustrating experience watching you do it? So far, I have had a very non-frustrating experience with this game. And I know people are having a frustrating experience, but why would I want to replace my memory of the game with someone else's frustrating experience?
I agree. Hang on to that.
I totally agree with you. I know, I can see why that would happen, and I know it's happening to a lot of people. In fact, Jeff, we all know Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff has been on Twitter. He's been very vocal. He did not enjoy the game very much, and I think a lot of it is for the same reasons. I don't know what the difference is.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, how do you think, or why do you think that's an okay thing?
I think it's because, to me, it's not about the whole, like, the success of the game is not about the frustration. Like, to me, the whole interaction between this boy and this animal, and trying to teach this animal without like, there's a language barrier there, and trying to get this boy to communicate and teach this animal to do something when they don't speak the same language, just through a bond. That, to me, is what's resonating with me in the game.
This is a very slow game.
Like, for me, like, when certain puzzles take longer to experience, when I'm sitting here trying to, like, when the animal ignores me and I have to, like, kind of move around and, like, try different places and try and get him to do things in different ways, to me, that's the game. I'm enjoying that. Other people are super frustrated by it. But to me, it's like like Brad said, it's like trying to get Hyde to do something you want him to do. He doesn't fucking do anything you want him to do.
It is a slow game. Like, I've never seen a game move this slow. And some people are just not okay with that.
But, like, Brad, my frustration isn't just the fact that it's slow. It's the fact that I don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing to be doing.
But that's the point of the game. Like, you're not supposed, like...
I mean, these are the two differing opinions. Some people are okay at...
Dude,
some people, that is the good experience, and some people, that is the bad experience. Exactly what y'all can describe as, he likes trying to get the dog to do shit. You hate that the dog isn't doing the shit you're telling him to do.
And that's not what I'm saying. I am fine with the dog not listening to you sometimes. It's my issue is not knowing when the dog is even hearing me. Yeah. Because sometimes I don't know if it's even registered that I told it to do something. That's what I wanted out of this game. I wanted some sort of, his fucking ears flap, his eyes blink, he sticks out his tongue. I don't fucking care. I wanted something to register back to me that Trico understood that I gave him a command. Maybe he doesn't know what to do. Maybe he fucking tilts his head. He's like, "What? I don't get it." Something.
He does kind of do all. I mean,
I'm still. The
maybe
thing
not
is,
consistently.
I completely get that and kind of agree with you. Except I'm still like in awe of just when the giant thing fucking like looks at me when I call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like this giant majestic beast acknowledges my presence. Or like when I'm riding it and it does like a crazy jump, I'm still in all of that, and maybe that's what is propelling me through.
Also,
this game.
I don't know how close you're sticking to Trico, but I will oftentimes run far away from him
all the time.
Okay, I didn't know.
My favorite part about this game is when I wasn't with Trico. Like, I understand.
That's just like a bad eco.
Hold on. Don't get me wrong. I'm the only one here who's actually finished this game. I enjoyed the story of this game. Like, y'all, Nick is the only one that's seen any story in this game.
I'm pretty sure
I just kind of started with the...
Probably. But that's what I'm saying. The story in this game comes towards, like, the last half. They start showing you actual story.
And I've gotten past that point. Yeah. So I'm pretty close to the end.
And so I enjoyed the story of this game. The last half of the game... you are way less dependent on Trico. Like, and at least he just does everything that he's supposed to do. Like, there's never, like, a time where you're relying on him to do something. It's more
I'm wondering if that's intentional.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm wondering if that's trying to signify, like, if over the course of the game, they just made it so that he starts to pick up, like, he starts to do things without you telling him more to create the illusion of that bond.
There are not the puzzles like there are early in the game, later in the game. If the puzzle is getting from him to step from point A to point B, then that's the puzzles of the second half of the game. And, like, I almost think it should have been the other way around. I think you should have started very simple and came into more complex puzzles as the game went on, or something to that effect. I enjoyed the second half of this game much more. But the problem is, Nick, like, the first half of the game is so front loaded with those puzzles where Trico doesn't always listen, and I don't know if it was because I was in a hurry. I didn't try to be in a hurry. I mean,
it's not about in a hurry necessarily. Like you're trying to get through the game. It's more of just like mentality, like how you process the way the time is being spent in the game, whether that is the experience or that is the stuff that's keeping you from enjoying the game. I mean, it's just the. I mean, it's just.
I mean, for me,
different strokes.
For me, the most to me that I have been frustrated a few times in this game, and
yeah, me too.
And when I've been
tried
frustrated,
to make a jump that you're probably watching right now.
Yeah, when the parts that have been frustrating me though have almost always been camera related.
And
I hate the camera.
The thing that frustrates me most is personally, I had no issues controlling the player character. I had no issues with the character or the camera. I had no issues like any kind of like anything that didn't involve Trico. Personally, I didn't have issues with. And my only problem with that, just I don't know how many other people are like me in that regard, and I don't know how kosher, I don't know how legit it is to put out a game that could be that decisive. That just the fact that Nick has just breezed to an extent through some of these puzzles and stuff, whereas I have had such a difficult time where it's not that I didn't get Trico to do something on the first or second time. I trolled him to do it. Every single puzzle that I had to get Trico to do something, it was not a 2-minute ordeal. It was a 15 to 20-minute ordeal. There was an instance when I was streaming that, like Brad, he had to get Trico to do something and then do this, and then Trico did this. In my game, Trico just wouldn't do it. And then I guess it bugged out because he just went back to a previous room and just stood there until I reloaded a chapter. And my inherent problem with this game is I don't know if there's a bug going on. Should I restart the chapter to fix this?
Are we having a Brad Bloodborne situation here?
Maybe.
But the opposite?
Yeah, the opposite though. That it's
bug.
It's less difficult and more difficult. I mean, like I said, there was a puzzle. I've already known you've done it, Nick. You had to get Trico to do something which opens a gate, and you had to stick something between that gate, and then he goes into the next room, and he jumps up onto a ledge.
Yeah.
In my game, he would not jump up on that ledge. He just refused. And then he just gave up and he went back to the last room and stood there until I reloaded the chapter.
You have to feed him before he jumps up on the ledge.
The only time you need to feed him is when he lays down.
Yeah. That wasn't this instance. But yeah.
Sometimes he'll just be like, I'm not moving again until you feed me.
I can, and just like I said, the second half of the game, when there were no more puzzles like that, there was no more asking Trico to do something to make you progress, I had a much better experience. And that's just like super frustrating for me.
Yeah.
That they tried to build a game around a character who I don't want to say I didn't connect with him, because I did like the creature. I liked the concept of the creature. I liked the interactions between the boy and the creature. I liked the story that surrounded the creature that you learned. I liked all of that. It's just the inherent, every single time I had to solve a puzzle, just complete frustration.
Outside of puzzles, I do like the moments where like Trico can't progress because there's something there that's keeping it from there, and you're dealing with these fucking assholes that are trying to grab you, and you're desperately trying to like open a door or break the things, and you could just see Trico like, I can't wait to get over there. I'm gonna fuck their shit up. And then when he finally does, like I love the part when his tail was stuck. Right? And you're dealing with these dudes, and you're trying to get them closer to Trico or something so he could destroy them. And then you finally free him, and Trico's just kind of walking around. And then you go down that tunnel, and you see one at the end of the tunnel, and Trico just takes off.
Yeah.
Just to like fuck that dude shit up because he's really frustrated and pissed. Like that.
What's up, Nick?
I just looked down at chat, and the first thing, this is the worst fucking footage.
Oh. Nice.
We were recording the footage before the show, and Brad was trying to make this jump.
Well, I mean, because Nick was like, he's like, no, like this is the bad footage, and I'm like Nick, this is me playing the game. This is not misrepresentative of my experience. It's happening to me now.
When Dingo in chat says Nick would have scrapped this, I was
exactly.
I was absolutely
trying.
But
I was trying.
You shouldn't scrap this because you want honesty. You want people to see the footage. You don't want people to see directed footage. You want to see what it's like at that time. You know what?
He missed the jump like 6
hours of this game. I have not struggled with my jumps like that, but at that one moment, I was struggling.
I wish cameras were rolling. Like I wish we were recording because that room when he was trying to make that jump was like highlight of the year material. Just
it didn't help that people were screaming at me trying to wrestle the controller away from me.
Sorry, it was painful.
I will say that the physics and hit detection on that one jump were a little worse than the other ones.
I got that jump my first try.
You know what? That's fine, but that's not how this works.
This game poses an interesting question for like a designer and an artist though. Like it's like, what would you rather do? Would you rather have your game experienced to completion by 1,000 people, or would you rather your game forge like a really
hard connection,
deep connection with 100 people? You know,
Both.
like I mean that you don't always get that in art. Like you
you
really don't always get that.
I mean, Team Eco has always been like that.
That's not something that you should strive for.
I don't even know if I would call Shadow of the Colossus a mainstream success.
Shadow of the Colossus was a giant open world with nothing in it.
Yeah.
Like, no game developer on the planet would do something like that.
Like, it's funny, like, when Fury was, before Chai beat it without dying.
Oh, did he do that?
Yeah, he did. Wow. When they were talking about Fury, they're like, oh my god, a game that's all boss fights. That's all Shadow of the Colossus was. It was 16 boss fights, and that is it.
But it had the gall to have you explore this world with nothing in it. And that's fine. But it's clear that this studio is not interested in making things that are going to sell lots of copies. Yeah. I mean, they have this deal with Sony, and Sony just happens to be a giant, video game publisher that sometimes fosters very artsy things. Just like with stuff like Journey or Flower. That stuff. In the designer's eyes.
And sometimes they take things that should be like kind of at a lower, more lo-fi level and try to propel it to this like AAA status.
I think Sony does.
Are you think that's what The Last Guardian is?
Well, I'm not saying necessarily The Last Guardian, but I think that the idea that this game is being released as like a Sony first party AAA like big holiday release puts a little bit of pressure on it that maybe it doesn't deserve.
And that's always been Team Eco, I think. I mean, that's always... they did that with Shadow of the Colossus, but Shadow of the Colossus actually sold fairly well because word of mouth was so good. I mean, it was pretty innovative, too.
But that game has a lot of the same problems The Last Guardian does in terms of the way the character... Like the clumsiness
This is very
of the
Eco. I would
camera.
love for you two to play through Eco, just because it's not long.
I played through Eco. I just didn't finish it.
Oh, well. But...
You know what? In Shadow of the Colossus, the horse always came when I called it.
Which, does that make a lot of sense?
Well, the horse.
I mean...
I'm just,
does it?
Yeah, but I mean...
Do horses come when you call
horse.
them? Like,
that's a fucking horse. I mean, they definitely created a Colossus for you to play Eco with. I mean, that's what this is. I mean, you say Ubisoft was making a game. They would not make it so where you signaled Trico to do something, and it kind of looked at you and looked up and looked at you and maybe got in and looked a little confused and kind of walked towards it, maybe got into position, and then finally after 10 seconds of animation made the fucking jump. That's like a horror story to probably any other developer out there. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to look at that and say this is bad. And it's easy to look at that and say, of course people aren't going to like this.
Agreed.
And that's why I think these games, Last Guardian more than any other, you're going to have people that are like overlooking obvious fucking problems, which this game has plenty of. And that's what I was trying to say last week, and I was saying like Final Fantasy X is getting 8s and 9s,
15.
which is 15 is getting 8s and 9s, which is very different than Last Guardian, which is getting 6 and 10s. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like games don't do that; they don't get 6 and 10s.
Yeah.
And that's all I was trying to explain.
I was just thinking about, and I'm sure someone on NeoGAF or someone has already probably called this out a long time ago, but the creature's name is Trico, which is like Tri-Eco.
No, it is. I mean, Trico has been the code name for the game since the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Before they called this game The Last Guardian, they called it Trico.
I didn't know that. I just put that together.
I want to say, so some of the funniest shit that as a result of the camera being so fucking crazy and the character movement being kind of clumsy, like there's been some fucking hilarious examples of people just eating shit on accident. And like it happened to me, like the example, like I was telling you about that guy earlier, the streamer who was like holding on to Trico as he was desperately scaling that wall, and then when he got to the top, like he's like, oh god, thank god I made it, and he like let out a sigh of relief, and then Trico turned around, and as he turned around, the physics of him spinning that fast just flung the boy off the cliff. And I had an instance like that the other day when he climbed up onto a ledge. I was still on him, and I was kind of holding onto his leg, and he did that thing, with the dogs. They put their head down and they scratch their head with their back leg. And when he did this, I was holding on to it and I couldn't hold on anymore, and I just flew off right off a cliff.
I will say another thing too. I think a big reason why, because I was playing this on the stream and then I stopped. Part of that is the frame rate is so. I'm playing on playing on a regular PS4,
and that is
I had it. Maybe it's because I had it hooked up to a monitor, just because of the way my setup was. I needed to have a monitor to see it. But I mean, there were a lot of times by the time I stopped, I didn't even really know what the fuck was going on, because I would grab Trico and he would jump somewhere, take me to a new area or something, and the frame rate's so bad, I can't even, it's just a blur of movement. I can't even see what's happening.
Mine hasn't been that bad.
I mean, it's.
I mean,
I don't know what to tell you, man. There's some times where fast, sudden movement is absolutely unintelligible on screen. I can't decipher what's going on.
I mean,
and that was a problem. That was a problem. I
think no one can probably attest this. The frame rate runs pretty consistently smooth on the Pro.
In the entire 12 or 13 hours I played it, I had one section where the frames dropped to about 24 for about 5 seconds, and that was it.
And the weird thing, I think I had a similar experience. And the weird thing is, it was in an area where,
was it with the little bridges, the tiny bridges? Or something?
I was inside of a big tower.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, with the bridges that kind of go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
apparently it drops there for everybody.
When you go outside, there's these huge, beautiful vistas, and I was nothing. It runs smooth as butter. It's weird.
It's kind of frustrating because, you, I mean, like an indie game or kind of a non-mainstream artsy game has more of an obstacle than say its movie or film counterpart. An indie film has lo-fi visuals, lo-fi audio, but that's really all that can be wrong with it. An indie or a artsy game has a lot more that, it's a much more complex thing and has a lot more that can just be broken.
Yeah.
That can just kind of get in the way of you getting what you need, getting something meaningful out of it. It's a little frustrating to see that happen, because I feel like in perfect laboratory conditions, this would be a fun game that I could get into, Yeah,
and I will say, if you've only played a little bit of it,
a couple hours,
you may have not even gotten to the point yet where you actually start commanding Trico, which is where some people run into issues, but it does kind of start to feel more like a game. I feel like the first couple hours is kind of just getting on Trico taking you to the next area. Yeah. You're not telling Trico what to do. It's a very specific point in the game where they're all right, your bond is better. You can start telling it what to do now.
Yeah, it really just seems much more freeform. Sometimes you're just kind of platforming. Sometimes you're in an area for some sort of set piece. Sometimes there's a puzzle, but none of it is really starkly defined from the rest of it. It's weird. It's
weird, but that's another reason I really like it, because it feels so freeform. It feels so natural. Mm-hmm. It feels more fluid. I never really. The whole game feels like this, really just smooth, natural progression, moving from one area to the next. I don't ever feel okay, I've completed this area. Now I'm going to this area.
You don't have that level, level 4.
I'm looking around, and I last night I was in this big open area. I was I don't know where to go, and then I looked up and I was oh, there's a hole in this. I'm gonna go through that, and I was I don't even know if he can make that jump, but hey, boy, if you can fucking make that, just go for it. And he went for it, and I was new open area. And it kind of came out of this okay, how are we going to get out of this big room? And I was just looking around, and that whole natural, it just felt really smooth and really natural. Mm-hmm. And I like that a lot. I also like the fact that they've kind of stripped away any sense of gaminess to it.
Did they?
I mean, in terms of the
tooltips, the most irritating part of this game are the non-stop.
They don't go away.
And
it makes it seem like you're supposed to do that thing that it's telling you to do, but you're not. It's just hey, by the way, don't forget that commanding him is this.
Pro tip: they're still giving you those at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They're still telling you how to climb
it's
things at the very
obnoxious.
end.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's-
And it's not even like the important controls. It's just the stupid shit like press this to pick something up because you're near something.
And why do they have to
Like,
be so large?
You wouldn't have gotten that far in the game if you didn't know how to pick something up. Why are they doing that? It
It's
doesn't
like,
make sense.
It's like Zelda all over again, where they won't stop telling you how to
Every
fucking
time
get
you,
on a horse.
every
they
time you
wanna
fucking
make
pick up a
sure-
rupee. By the way, this is a 20 fucking.
It sounds
rupee
like
game.
it's like
they want
result of
they want to make sure that you
playtesting.
have that. They want to make sure you have that information available, like whenever you might need it. But they don't want to do something as gamey as like just giving you a journal that you can consult at any time.
In that
and
regard,
shit.
that's just another kind of reason. I don't want to say this is a bad game, but it's poor game design, in my opinion. Because I think in a situation, any other kind of modern game, or not any, but there are many, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know there are some, if you give me some time to do some research, I can find some, that if you're in an area for too long and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then that tooltip would pop up. Hey, by the way, if you do this, if you press these buttons, this will happen.
And this is we talked to this before the podcast, but like what you're talking about is like when you're in an area long enough, it'll prompt that voiceover of like the narrator telling you something to do it. But then they have these weird awkward tooltips where it almost feels like that wasn't Team Ico. That was like when they were, I guess when they were bringing it over for translation, and they were like, oh, they did some playtesting.
Or for years, Sony Santa Monica and some other people have been helping with this game, trying to just get it up to snuff. Or
like,
and I'm sure
it seems like an obvious example of like
there
outward
has been
influence.
like people playing the game, like playtesting it and struggling, and that's maybe what dictated a lot of these choices. That I say that because a lot of them seem kind of shoehorned in. They
Has
don't
anyone checked
seem,
to see if you can turn those off?
No, you can't.
That's
Absolutely,
not on the
you
options?
can't. It's not on the options, and
Fuck.
it's fucking insane. One last thing I would like to say about Last Guardian, because I haven't got a chance to mention it, that I find really frustrating, that I kind of wish wasn't like this, is in Shadow of the Colossus, if you wanted to grab something or climb something, you held the button. There was a grip button, and it was very binary. You were either holding that button or you weren't. If you wanted to let go of something, you released it, and if you wanted to grab on something on the way down, you grabbed it again. That's not in Last Guardian. There's a lot of like auto sticking, auto grabbing. It seems
He's
really
very sticky.
Press
boy.
X to let go. Kind of
it
thing.
seems
like,
inconsistent. There's times where you don't know if you're holding on or if you're not, or if it doesn't even matter, because I feel like I don't. Maybe I can understand why they did that. Probably after a lot of playtesting, people were having trouble. They were falling off this thing because it's moving around a lot. It's a lot more mobile than your typical like giant colossi or whatever, right? But like it makes the experience of playing the game and interacting with Trico physically seem a lot more sloppy. While if you look at Eco, it was you press a button to hold her hand. You look at Shadow Colossus, you're climbing on something, you're holding a button down. It just seems
so in that
blah.
in that regard, the whole stickiness gave me more issues. There are multiple puzzles or whatever where you had to get Trico to kind of get up on his hind legs and put his front paws on something and put his head next to something so you could climb up his body to get to there.
Yeah.
And there were multiple times where I was like kind of looking around an area. I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And then he did that on his own. I'm like, oh shit, I need to climb up him. Start climbing up, get stuck on his thigh or get stuck on the nape of his
then he would hop
neck.
down.
And then he jumps down. I'm like, God damn it.
He gets
And
bored.
now I
It's
have to
like,
fucking
okay.
wait for him to do it again. And there was just like, that's an example of like, yeah, it's not just that he came down. I understand that he came down from that animation.
probably because he had to. I mean, that was just the way it was programmed.
He was probably only programmed to be in that position for 15 seconds and after that get down. Which I think is kind of silly.
Based on where the player is. Yeah.
But that in that situation, I think any other modern game would say if the player is currently in the process of climbing Trico, he would not get down. I think any other modern game would kind of lock him in that animation, and this one doesn't. And I kind of can understand that, blah, 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 AI and stuff like that. But it's a frustrating combination of the sticky kind of, like, you get stuck on him. Like I said, his back thighs and his neck
And right under his wing.
shoulder blades, his wings. That is where you will often get stuck.
Those are what I like to call the bullshit zone.
Yeah, and like you're like, okay, fuck this. I'm
There's
pressing
a lot
X
of
to
deformation going on.
yeah, I'll
like
press
that.
X to drop off of him, and he'll like kind of like not do it, and sometimes he'll stay on. It's like, what's going on?
Do you know, like most game design, you know how like you see journalists go over to the game site, just work on games. What they say is, well, once I started we always say, why didn't the game do this? Why didn't the game do this? Why didn't the game do this? But when you're on their side, you're like, no, they tried that.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work, so they took it
out.
out.
Yeah.
I feel like with Team Ico, Fumito Ueda has these grand visions. He's this grand designer who wants it to be a certain way, except the programmers don't say, this isn't working, we can't do this. They just do their best.
Yeah.
I feel like Ueda is very much an auteur, and they just do their best to work with that, that vision, and that is where you run into issues. While any other more maybe sane developer who isn't going to take 10 years to make their game or whatever is just going to be like, nope, this isn't working. We have to try something else. So, and that's my concern, because if you think about it, like from the very start of this project, to where we just saw it as a trailer or a document to what it is now, I bet that vision didn't change much. This seems this Last Guardian, as like, to me, like rewarding and refreshing as it is pretty much exactly what I thought and knew it was going to be, which I think speaks a lot to the power of an Ueda vision and the fact that if he wants something, he's gonna get it, even if it's rough.
By God, he's gonna get it.
So I had one last quick comment.
Okay.
Quick. Go ahead. I'm the only one that finished this game, and like I said, the first however many hours of this game were.
How long were the credits? Were there a lot of people?
Yes, and stay the whole time.
Oh.
Always do.
Even if you don't think you should,
dude, I stayed.
You'll be surprised.
I stayed through the entire Uncharted 4 credits. I don't know if you remember how long that was.
Yeah, no, I did. The last 45 minutes of this game were pretty fucking awesome. Like I said, I had nothing but, and I think that kind of is sour for me, just because of I don't feel like I had.
It didn't gel as well with your earlier experiences.
Because I had such many problems early on, I feel like that bad taste in my mouth.
It soured the end.
And I feel like someone like you is going to enjoy this game so much more towards the end because you didn't have as many bad experiences as me. And that's frustrating for me, because at the end of this year, this game might not be as highly represented in my mind as it is yours, and that's something that frustrates me. Yeah. And it's not that I can just be like, oh fuck it, it's because it has now been built into my mind that I look at this game with a frustrated manner. But like I said, the last part of the game, the last hour, something like that, was fucking awesome.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I'm already getting to a point where I think I'm getting fairly close to the end. And I can feel it starting to pick up, and like just last night, like a few things happened, and I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool."
I can probably tell you how close you are off the feed.
Okay.
But that being said, I played another game, exact opposite,
which we'll talk about
ending
briefly when we come back from our break, which we were overdue for this week. But we don't really have any news this week per se. We're gonna revisit Final Fantasy 15 a little bit. And then we'll do community, answer some Patreon questions, and wrap up. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a second. If you're not watching us live, we'll be back in a second.
Just keep listening.
Just stay where you are. Recording, guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the show, Nolan.
What up?
I know you wanted to rattle off some thoughts on Final Fantasy 15. You finished it.
Yes, so I did finish Final Fantasy 15.
How do you feel about Final Fantasy 15?
Oh goodness me. So we talked a lot about the characters last week.
Yeah.
And the development you saw in Brotherhood, and whatnot.
Yes.
And I feel like post completing this game, didn't care.
Wow. This is really strange, because I've seen a lot of people online who said they've just finished the game and had the opposite reaction.
Well, they are wrong. So I had a conversation with Jaeger about this. So bump my mic. Because he finished the game as well. No, I don't know. He finished the game. I think he shared my opinions, because he was the only one that's finished it, so I wanted to talk about it with someone, because I had to fucking get my opinions out there. We don't have a spoiler cast. Without spoiling anything, I'm going to compare this game to Final Fantasy X.
I love 10.
Yeah, I love 10.
In Final Fantasy X, you were Titus. You're running around, you meet up with Yuna, you travel on with Auron.
It's Yana.
Waka. And I feel like every
Kamari.
every hour in that game,
Riku, I can do it too.
progress stops, and there's a cutscene where you talk about, hey, this is our goal, this is our objective, this is what we're doing, this is my emotions. Ha 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 ha! That shit happens. I don't feel like it happens in 15. I don't feel like I ever got to know these characters well enough.
They went with a more. In this case, I feel like the word fluid is maybe a bad way to or a negative descriptive.
Fluid. What do you mean by fluid?
Fluid like liquid poo.
Like they don't halt the action very often to like
Stop and have a
to let
cutscene.
to give you a cutscene to kind of show what's happening.
The exposition in this game is few and far between, and I feel
Which
the
is
problem
which
with
is
that.
the problem I had with like Metal Gear Solid 5 when compared to like previous Metal Gear.
Exactly. No, exactly. I feel the problem with that is things happen to other characters. Things happen to your bros. And like, oh, this happened. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, a character dies, not one of the four guys. Just a character that you meet in the game dies. And I'm like, all right, they're dead now. Like I don't feel like I ever had a connection with them. In other Final Fantasy games, when Ares dies, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Shit that was one of my, blah blah, she fucking died.
Yeah.
But in this I was just like, all right, this person's not going to be in the game anymore.
I feel like as this industry gets older, I think there's cutscenes like non-interactive cutscenes and used as exposition has become increasingly maybe looked down upon.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that now you don't have to have a non-interactive cutscene to have a cutscene. You can just have a conversation. There are times in this game where your bros just you're randomly running around the world, you have conversations. But I don't feel like that is in this game enough. Like something happens to one of the characters, and it's kind of like a shocking moment.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that shock came across because it's not like they had like he has an opinion on a subject. And he's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But it's not like that a subject ever came up in the past that, I'm trying to think of like a good example of something not like a movie or something where someone all of a sudden their opinions changed on someone. Like someone who was like very racist. This is a very racist person.
American History X.
Yes, exactly. And then all of a sudden something like this guy, a white guy, he hates black people, and all of a sudden a black man saves his life. And they become friends, like this. But there's a circumstance in this game, not like involving race, but like something happens to somebody, and like, why should I care? Like, okay, that's a shock, but like, it's not like they ever had a differing opinion or like. It's just, I don't feel like the story is there.
And that's all because of the way they chose to tell the story, which is,
not,
in my opinion, is dramatically different than anything they've done before in the series.
I'm fine with how they conveyed the story to me. I'm not fine with how little story there is.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like there was enough.
So in this case, it's lack of quantity over quality.
Do you feel like you care more about Gladio if you threw glowing barrels into his mouth?
To an extent, yes. Like I don't. There are circumstances where you camp with them, and that you wake up in the morning and Gladio. Have you seen the cutscene with Gladio? Yeah. And he's like, oh, Noct is like, oh, Ignis is always bitching at me because I'm not up early, and Gladio's like, you know what? Let's go for a run on the beach in the morning. Like that cutscene was fucking cool.
Everyone kind of has their moment like that, right?
Yes, you have one moment with everyone like that. Fucking one. I didn't want one. I wanted several. I wanted these characters to go to a town and have like a fucking 5-minute conversation about what's going on in the world. Yeah. That never fucking happens.
You know why? They spent so much money making Kingsglaive. They had to cut out so much of that.
And so, to that being said, post 13, like chapters 14 and the end of the game is super fucking rushed. Like they fucking just start throwing a story at you
because they don't spread it out.
Yeah, and it's not done in a good way. I did not at all like the ending of this game. Personal opinion, I'm sure there are people out there who liked it. I was really let down. Bernadette was with me the whole time, and she was like asking questions. She's like, wait, why is this going on? And I was like, I have fucking no idea. Like, I literally do not know. I don't understand what this shit is.
Because the Imperious.
That's how I felt the entire time I was watching Kingsglaive.
Kind of. The last boss fight in this game, did not like it at all. One of my biggest frustrations in this game is the fucking summons.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they? How come I can only summon someone as like a limit break?
Not even that. You have to be in the right place of the world.
Exactly. You have to be in the right place at the right time with the right health. Like where the like
I don't know why, but ever since now I'm thinking about how did they even handle summons in 12? I'm trying to remember how that worked, but
12 you like turned into the summon.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Really?
I think you controlled it.
Yeah.
It's just like the
Or it
last.
was- yeah.
I don't know. I was perfectly fine with how they handled summons in 10 and everything
Yeah,
prior to
definitely.
10, where it's just you summon it, it comes out, it does an
You fucking
attack,
pull
and
up
it
the
goes
menu,
away.
you choose it, it fucking comes
Yeah.
out. Well, 10 was different. 10 it stayed out for a while. 10 it stayed out until it died.
Oh, yeah, I
if you
forgot
wanted
about
it
that.
to.
That's right.
But in this game, like they are so few and far between, and I think you interact with like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, almost like 6 of them at some point. But like you don't really, and like it's just like
Let's not forget Carbuncle.
I never fucking saw him again.
You never saw Red Rocket again?
No
Shit.
He shows at the very beginning of the game, and he's like, "Hey, do you remember me? I'm Dick Butt. You played me in the tutorial." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what's up, buddy?" Never saw him again.
He just showed up to give you a cell phone.
Yes, and he
then
calls
he
you
just-
once on it, and then never again. And like maybe there was some side mission, because I didn't complete every side mission. I don't have the fucking time right now. I would like to, but maybe he shows up at some point. But I just don't like. I really don't understand. And me and Brad kind of talked about this a little bit before the podcast. But a game was in development for 9 years. Blah blah blah. I know it wasn't being worked on for that long. In all reality, it probably had like maybe 3 or 4 years of development, hard development, and in between that was like fucking like issues that they were having. I'm fine with that. I just don't understand why there is so little story.
Well, it's a problem when they're already talking about patching in more story, which they've said they're doing. That is an upcoming patch. They're going to patch
that's so
additional
weird.
cutscenes.
That is newsworthy, but I will say this in defense, and I heard this from someone else, and they made a very salient point, is that Square Enix has always done this, except they release it a year or two down the line as the international version, which we never get.
Yeah.
This is us finally getting it, and it's going to be free.
But like, just to let you know, I beat this game in 36 hours.
Yeah.
I think that is ridiculous.
You mean too low?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people spend a lot more time than that.
But what, doing side missions?
I mean,
look back
I'm
at any
15
Final
hours
Fantasy game in the past.
I'm 15.
Well, there's like side dungeons and stuff, right?
I mean, I'm 16 hours in. I'm still in chapter 4 because I haven't left yet.
And that's fine.
It speeds up towards the end, though.
It does speed up, but that's why. Look at how many hours do you think it took you to play Final Fantasy X?
Well, I spent over 100 hours in 10.
But how much of that was doing side missions?
A lot. I mean, I think I finished it at 60 hours and I went on for another 40 afterwards.
But that's what I'm saying is
or maybe it's the other way around.
I feel like this game, like, I hate how quickly you can get through it. Yeah, I feel like this game has 1/4, 1/5 of the story content that previous Final Fantasy games have. You can't,
epic.
And that's,
no, it does.
And
you
that is why
you can't patch that in. You can't patch
This is
in.
the Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's what I'm saying.
Final
It is.
That
Fantasies.
is the biggest. That is the reason I didn't even put Metal Gear Solid 5 on my top 10 last year for that exact.
Except Metal
fucking
Gear
reason.
Solid 5 plays like a dream in Final Fantasy 15.
So like, I just don't
Like
feel
there are
like-
just some
Are
series.
the bros still like? This is really disheartening to me because the one thing that I'm really liking about this game is kind of the bros, and I feel like, oh man, these
Final Fantasy, bro.
Final Fantasy
No, I agree.
guys, and we use bros because they're a bunch of dudes hanging
Bros
out, and
being
because
bros
there's a
being
chick in
bros
Hammerhead
being
who
bros.
wears skimpy clothes. But in reality, like these are like,
Do you remember?
they're like nice, like sensitive people. They seem caring. They seem more like
Whoa, a bro can't care.
what I'm saying is that they feel like the opposite of a bro. You know what I mean?
do you
It's
remember-
like Prompto's taking pictures,
Bro, I don't know.
because he wants to like remember the trip. You know,
Yeah.
like that's not a bro thing. That's kind of nice.
no, it is. And so do you?
And I don't want that to go away because the story shit. Like that was supposed to be the strength of this game for me.
I get what you're saying, but I think you're being horribly reductive to bros.
I'm talking about the bro.
Do you remember
God
very
damn it,
on
guys.
I think it's like chapter 4. It's pretty early. What was that place called? Golden Key or something Key?
The little town.
Yeah, on the very south side of the island.
You go through the bridge.
Yeah, and there's a cutscene that happens, and Noctis finds out some information. Like that shit pretty much never happens again. A cutscene like that, where it's just literally just an art-directed cutscene, and they're exposition is going on. They're talking, this is going on in the world. This is how I feel about this. These are my goals and objectives. This, like, that just, like, never really
Kind of
happens
reminds me of like
again.
Dragon Age Inquisition. There's just not enough. Well, that's not true. Okay, that's a bad example.
But
It reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles X, where there's just not a lot of like. Well, even then you can. Yeah, this is
Make up your mind,
this is
goddammit.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
in Xenoblade
There are
Chronicles
just some
X,
series out there that when I go into them, I expect and I want an exceptional amount of exposition. and
yeah, no,
story.
exactly. You know,
Play Xenogears.
think of Final Fantasy 12, where however many hours there are cutscenes to like the judges, and they're having conversations about how they're going to fucking take over the world and this and that, and there's just epic cutscenes of the judges walking down hallways.
Dope.
No, there's nothing like that in this. Like, you see the bad guys a few times, and it's just like it is. I'm just
Remember Fran losing her shit because that was such a dope ass cutscene.
nothing like that happens in this game, and that is like the fucking biggest letdown for me. Like, yeah, I agree that this is like the Metal Gear Solid 5 of this series, where, you know, it comes from a game where that is what I love about Final Fantasy games. I love the epic fucking Final Fantasy VIII cutscenes where Squall is fucking brooding, and he's, you know, upset. He's in the hospital wing and he's upset about the shit that's going on, and Quistis walks in and they have a fucking conversation about, you know, blah blah blah. This is why this happened. Like, it's just not there, and that is like, and like I said,
There's more of it in Final Fantasy 13, I think.
Oh
than
no!
15.
Oh, way more in Final Fantasy 13. Oh, at least twice, 3 times as much. And that's like, it's just so frustrating for me that, yeah, I beat the game in 36 hours. I did a lot of side quests. Did I do them all? No, I did a lot of side quests. I finished the game at level 50. I think Jaeger was telling me he finished at like in like the 70s or something. Like, he did a lot more side quests than I did.
Yeah.
But I am so disappointed at how little like substance is in this game. That is just really frustrating for me.
Yeah, and
in a game that we had been anticipating for so long.
And I
Did you
think
fly the car?
No.
I think a lot of that is going to stem from one. They do insist on, from one Final Fantasy to the next, trying dramatically different things, and I like that about the series, even if it's not always successful.
Does it
I
make
also-
you miss your bootleg version of Final Fantasy VI with Kane in it?
There is way more exposition in Final Fantasy VI than there is in this.
And you know what?
sure.
And you know what? Like, this game kind of had to happen. Like Brad said a few weeks ago, I think like you gotta know they're already somewhere. They've already probably for a while been secretly working on Final Fantasy 16.
I can't wait to see it
And we
because
can't-
I feel like after 13 and now this, now is when you get like the Final Fantasy 9. You know,
And-
then we're gonna go back to kind of, you know, like a throwback.
Like,
know?
'cause
wizards and
this
and
game was always gonna,
mages.
this game was always going to have that baggage of like, it's still, even though it's called 15, we know it's secretly kind of still
Tied to 13,
tied to 13 somewhat intrinsically. So I think that's always going to kind of bring it down.
The
a little
funny
bit.
thing I talked about with with Jaeger is that Sean Bean voiced King Regis
Yeah.
in the movie.
Oh, the first time you hear the king talk in the game, it's just like, my dick got soft. Like,
Why did they just get
Hold
Sean
on.
Bean?
And you know what, Crispy? That's the last time you hear him.
you
never fucking see the king again.
Well, yeah, because
Which doesn't make sense.
Why didn't Sean Bean just record the 4 lines
Yes,
of dialogue for the
yes.
game? Like, it literally makes no
They
sense.
got Billy D. Williams just to go mushroom. You know, why couldn't they get Sean Bean to say his one line?
I'm pretty sure
Like,
Sean
that's
Bean's
just, like,
got a pretty big rate. Right?
You know what they could have
Does
done is when they were recording the fucking Kingsglaive lines, just be like, hey, can you do these lines for us real quick?
Yeah.
Just
Just
be
like
like,
an extra take of this.
this is probably
My
be an extra
son.
scene somewhere. We just want to make sure we get it.
It's just
But then
like
working into the game.
There's multiple. Like,
Everyone gets sued.
I liked the gameplay of this game. I enjoyed running around the world. I loved the fucking riding the chocobos.
I think that's
loved
what's going
the
to resonate
hunts.
with me when I look back on it. Is that this does feel to me dramatically different than anything that's happened before, as far as in Final Fantasy series. I am going to be bummed like you are. I can
The
already
reason
tell.
I play Final Fantasies is for the fucking stories. It's for the epic quest. It's for Titus finding out, am I a dream? What is going on? What is like? It's not there.
Man, Final Fantasy X hit me right.
Is
in the
that really
feels.
how 10 ends?
Don't answer that question.
I'm not going to answer that. Like I said, I'm just going to say
I
that
already
while I enjoyed my time with this game,
Right in the feels.
disappointed is an understatement in how I am with what I left this game with.
Yeah. Well,
And that because I was saying this to
This
Jaeger.
hurts to hear, though, man.
No, it does, and
Because
it's
fuck,
well, you
it's-
might have a different experience.
No, I intend to finish it.
He won't. It sucks that the fucking two of the most anticipated games that came out this year that we've been waiting like almost over 15
Like
years
you said, Brett,
combined.
this is the carrying couch.
Yeah, this.
that-
I mean,
Nolan just
you,
has
you
no
said
soul.
2 disappointments. These could be 2.
Is it in my opinion?
Yeah.
Two of the games I was looking
Soulless?
forward to the fucking most disappointed me, and that you have no idea how upsetting that is to me.
Yeah, I get
Oh
it.
my god, I am so glad I came
Do you know
into
how
this
much
without
money I spent
any
on
of
Final
that
Fantasy
baggage.
15?
Well, I get it. But you prefer games with Gungeon in the title. I like games about heart. No, I'm just kidding.
The
I'm pretty
fuck
sure I
does-
like Kingdom Hearts more than you did.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, fucking. No, I love Kingdom Hearts. The other ones suck.
All right.
Organization 13.
All right, we need
Final
to move
Fantasy
on.
15 is like the Organization 13
Yeah.
of Final Fantasies.
But less
That's pretty
exposition.
harsh. Okay, let's move on. We don't have. We're actually gonna. We're not gonna. We're kind of gonna breeze over news this week. There's not a whole lot newsworthy discussion. Little things happen here and there. We'll
They
bring
put
up during-
microtransactions in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. That's fucking weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
4-player minute. We'll bring up a few things newsworthy,
Bum
I'm
me
sure.
out, man.
So we're gonna go ahead and we spent a long time in the first segment talking about Last Guardian. So let's kind of breeze right on through to the community segment.
Yeah.
Nolan.
it's a good
Bum me
movie.
out, Nolan. Now I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to play more Let It Die.
Yeah, let it die.
I'm so
Hey,
sorry.
you know
all
what,
just
Brad?
play Let it die.
It seems like there's more exposition in there.
There's some.
There's
I
so much.
thought there was going to be like no
They give
story.
you videos and stuff to explain shit.
I thought there was going to be no story present. Like I thought it was just going to be like raw fucking dungeon crawling.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised. There's cool shit.
All right, let's get to some questions from our patrons.
Well,
Let's-
we do have.
we got some questions that I want answers for. First question this week from Nick the Batman.
Wait, don't you usually mention new patrons before?
Did we have any new ones? I didn't.
We
check.
did, but I can't. Hold on, I'll pull it up in a second.
Yeah, I forgot to check.
We do
today.
have 2 new patrons.
I had a busy day at work.
I can tell you their names. Go ahead and
Okay.
I'll find
First
a
question this week from Nick the Batman. Through your own hard work and dedication, you managed to become the president of a video game company of your choosing.
Oh god.
One day, as you sit atop your throne, you hear the voice of God telling you to burn it all down. So you decide to force them into only developing games that would utterly bankrupt the company. What company do you choose, and how do you do it?
From Software. This is what
Yeah.
I'm choosing to bankrupt the company.
Yes. And
So-
yeah, how do you go
So
about
we
that?
should be picking a company
Here's how I
we
do it.
want to see bankrupt.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't want to see From Software bankrupt, but I know what I would have them do that would probably end up bankrupting.
No, it's not what you want to do. It's what God wants you to do.
That's true.
No, but let's hear
There's
yours.
a difference.
Let's hear yours first, and then we'll do the other one.
I'd get From Software working hard on whip tech and then have them make a proper Castlevania game. But because nobody buys Castlevania games, they go bankrupt.
Okay.
That's
How would they make that?
How
proper whip.
kind of like Souls.
No, but I mean, like, never mind. They could never make a cat. They're aren't. Wait, never mind.
No, they're
The license.
independent.
You're right.
I mean,
They're right. They are independent. You're right.
They
You're
can
right.
work. I mean, well, yeah.
They can make whatever they want.
It could
whatever
happen.
they're offered. Or
It
whatever.
could happen. It could still happen.
Oh man, I gotta pick a company that I would want to see bankrupt.
By the way, 2 new patrons. Andre and Koto Coco?
Oh, nice.
Kotu Coco.
Kotu Coco. Yeah,
Is it Andre with a Y?
Yes.
it is.
I saw it in chat today.
Thank you guys very
Thanks,
much.
new patrons.
As I mentioned last week, I think it's worth mentioning again. We have some updates coming to the Patreon campaign. We're kind of hammering out the finer details, and we'll get those launched probably late December, early January. So look for those. It'll be exciting. Got some cool stuff. You can find more information about our current Patreon campaign on patreon.com/4player. Sorry.
Yeah, no. that's
Continue. So just so I understand the question, we're supposed to pick a company that we want to see bankrupt?
good. No. Just pick a game company you like and bankrupt them.
Why would we want to do that?
I would choose Volition, and I would have them only make Spyro games.
Volition. Have them make Red Faction.
No, I want them to go bankrupt.
Oh.
I would pick Rockstar, and I would tell them to make Bully 2
With a female protagonist.
with a female
Oh.
protagonist.
I would pick Capcom, and I would cancel the Street Fighter series, and I would replace it with Sheet Fighter, which is a dating sim with all the Street Fighter characters.
I don't think that would bankrupt it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would. I'm pretty sure the profits would go through the fucking roof.
I mean, I'd buy it. Let's be honest.
I'd do that.
You go on a date with Zangief?
And there's
Not what I was thinking.
no, and there's a quick time event where you have to stroke his chest hair.
Yes. It's a lightly canoodle.
Have you seen that story mode though? Like,
And then he invites you up for coffee. Do you say yes? Do you
Like-
say no?
Mika's lust for Zangief.
All right, moving on. Next question
Not
from the
most.
metal button. Who would you rather have as a pet? Trico, or Sif from the Great Wolf?
Sif. He can use a sword.
That's true.
Trico, because he's fucking adorable.
Yeah, it's Rico.
Sif
it
because
seems like
it's
a real animal.
Sif because it's really, really fucking heartbreaking watching him just like sit on Artorias' grave.
Sif is also
Like-
really easy to beat, so that's a lame pet.
Yeah,
Despite the sword, it's an easy boss fight. Trico seems like it'd be hard to beat.
and by the way, Trico, loyal as fuck.
So you want like you
Sif.
want to what? I don't.
Anyway,
So this is
moving
the-
on.
I don't get why
this
that's the
is the
criteria.
s-
You want
this
a
is the
pet that
sick
you want to
couch,
fucking
and
beat?
this is the Trico couch.
You can ride around on Trico. I don't know about Sif.
Why not? He's a giant wolf.
Yeah, but he seems kind of.
Yeah, he seems kind of.
He doesn't seem
noble
like he'd be
and
all
above that.
into that. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
he'd probably be very anti.
He seems like he would obey your commands.
He's seen
and-
shit, man. He's been to the abyss.
All right, next question from Arxidus. If you had to have an anime avatar for something online, what would you pick?
Oh God.
If I had to have an anime avatar, I'd have. If I had to have an anime
Oh God.
avatar,
I don't know how do people pick anime avatars? I feel like it's a process I'm just
you
not
just pick an
familiar with.
underage girl.
Oh God.
I'd pick one of the screenshots from Naruto when Yamato's doing his like creepy face, where his fucking pupils are huge and like he's being lit from the bottom and he's like. Ugh.
I'd probably pick. It'd probably be Faye, right? Faye's her name from.
Yeah.
Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop.
Yeah, probably be Faye. Somewhere, yeah.
I would choose.
Cowboy Bebop would be
Oh
good.
man. I would go with Matsumoto from Bleach.
Nolan's smiling. Why are you
Yeah.
smiling, Nolan?
I can probably Google a picture of Matsumoto.
People in chat are probably know exactly what you're talking
no,
about. I
they
have
do.
no idea.
I was always fond of the pedophile teacher in Azumanga, so I'd probably go with that.
What? What the fuck? Oh, shit's weird, guys. Okay.
Yep. So anyway, here's a photo, Nick,
Oh,
of
God.
Matsumoto.
Oh. Are those boobs?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, like watermelons.
Huge breasts.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Next
Next question.
Yeah, next question this week from Zerby.
Zerbil.
Oh, that's a silly question. Let's not answer it. Anyway.
Oh.
Why is Chris Davis not on the podcast more often? If you could name your favorite thing Chris does for you, what would it be? Aside from the issues of the game, why don't you play The Division with Chris? Shouldn't the time spent together be what matters?
Man, I feel like he
How
wrote
great
this-
is Chris to you on a scale from 1 to infinity?
He's trying to just make this as awkward as humanly possible for us to answer.
Yep.
All right, well, Chris Davis serves a very important purpose behind the camera. That's why he's on the
Oh, no, that's
podcast as
definitely true.
often. He does a lot of work to make this podcast look as nice as it does and run as smoothly as it does.
Yeah. It
during the live
definitely didn't
recording.
look this nice like 2 years ago.
No, as we said, there was episodes of this podcast we were sitting around a table in front of a blank white wall,
Yep.
just talking at each other, which was weird. What were the other questions?
Oh, there's like 12.
Why
Chris
don't you play
Davis.
The Division? With
If I had to
Chris?
rate one of them, if I had to rate Chris Davis on a scale of like
1 to infinity.
One-
My
infinity?
answer is no.
I'd probably give him like a 7.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 7. That seems good. Well, other questions? Why don't we play The Division with Chris?
Yeah.
I mean, he
'cause
did gift us the game for a penny.
We're playing other games. I've played
I don't
games
have
with
time
Chris.
to sink into The Division. Maybe
I don't think I'm going to play anything with him, but I would recommend him watch that the No Clip documentary of Doom 2016.
He already watched it.
he already did. I mean, I don't know. The Division is just it's just not really my thing. I'm not saying I won't try it, but I probably won't try it. I mean, I don't know. I can't really answer that question. Next question.
All right, from Gonzo Lude. What question would you ask to your own personal hero? What would you ask Dexter, Nick?
Oh God, that just threw me off. I don't. First of all, I don't really know who my own personal hero is.
I'm sorry, Jason Bourne.
Those aren't real people. We're talking about heroes. Like if you wanted to like really if you really wanted to be sincere, you would say Michael C. Hall or Matt Damon. But I don't think they're necessarily my heroes.
What would you ask Michael C. Hall? What's his trick to beating cancer?
I have an answer.
Did he have cancer?
Who? Michael C. Hall? He did.
Yeah.
He did. In fact, entirety of season 5 of Dexter, he was wearing a wig.
Wow.
That's what
you could tell.
Yeah, you could, but you know what? He fucking powered through it.
Here's what I would, my own personal hero,
Shiner Bach. What is that?
President Bartlett. And I would ask him to please run for president in 2020.
Wait, what?
From
West
from
Wing.
the West Wing.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it. Oh, my God. All right. President Bartlett.
I would ask him to please run for president in 2020. Not Martin Sheen per se.
Yeah.
President Bartlett.
But President
Yeah.
Bartlett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would ask him to somehow run in 2016.
Well, I guess if we're imagining
Yeah.
magical questions.
Oh God, personal hero. That's tough.
Yeah. God, is it sad that I don't know who my own personal...
I think the problem with me is mine changes. You know, it's whoever I'm kind of like the most like kind of. I don't use the word infatuated, but like like the person who you're currently like really interested in.
I saw a story today
Enamored
online on
with.
some news site about some like 4-year-old kid who met his hero
Nick,
who was a
that's
soccer
illegal.
player.
Oh, he met okay.
And like I was like, man, that kid knows who's
Oh, that's not his hero.
is.
That's not going to be his hero in 5 years.
Who's my hero?
I mean, like right now for me, it'd be Alton Brown. Like I fucking love that guy. He's been doing a lot of like YouTube videos lately that are more down.
You know what?
earth
You know who
and
my
kinda,
personal hero is right now? It's that Mike Pence lookalike in New York City who's walking around in hot pants asking for donations.
What?
He's called himself Mike Hot Pence.
Nice.
And he's walking around in like short shorts asking for donations and giving it to charities that benefit LGBT. I can't speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's
LGBTQ.
yeah, I can never say it. But he's walking around with these hot pants on, carrying a sign that says Mike Hot Pence. Mike Hot Pence. See, that's right there.
That's
That's my
fantastic.
hero.
My real
I don't know what I would
answer-
ask him.
Fantastic.
my real answer, my real hero, Chris Davis. I'd ask him, please extend the Game of the Year deadline
He did.
more. I'm thinking March. Give us a real chance to really do 2016 justice. You know, let's not be like all these other sites that are just rushing for into the year content so they can, put out some stuff that people want to look when they're all on vacation. Let's do it right. Like the fucking Oscars,
Wait, but you said it yourself. Once January hits, we're all going to switch gears and it's going to be about Resident Evil 7 and Neo and Horizon.
But you could still set some time aside each week to wrap up 2016.
Speak for yourself.
Anyway, back to what I was saying before I was interrupted. Alton Brown would be my hero, and I would ask him.
To make you something to eat.
No, I would ask him what is his favorite thing that is the easiest to make, that like he makes a lot, like something you could make at home that's really good but really easy, like that he likes to do. Because then I could start doing that.
Anybody else have an answer?
Like my turkey I make every Thanksgiving is an Alton Brown recipe.
I don't know.
And then
man.
have him make it, but only using utensils made out of tinfoil.
I stopped watching the latest season.
The
last episode of Cutthroat Kitchen I saw had a challenge where somebody had to be inside of a cuckoo clock. So they brought out this giant cuckoo clock and they stand on like a fucking rotating platform that takes them inside the clock and back out, but they can only work like every minute when they're outside of the clock. And then like the bell will go boom, and they'll like fucking rotate inside of it, and they can't do anything, and then they have to wait until they come back out.
God, I missed
it
that
was
one.
Incredible.
It's getting more and more ridiculous. It's gonna evolve into like parodies of Japanese game shows where it's like you must cut off your finger.
You heard they're bringing back Good Eats, right?
No, I didn't.
I'm so fucking excited.
That's great.
I am so fucking.
I have no
I'm
idea what
using
Didn't
any
they
of
run
this
out of
is
stuff to cook?
I'm using this to obscure the fact that I didn't answer the question because I don't.
You know what?
You don't have a
Dwayne
camera?
the Rock Johnson looks like a pretty cool dude.
Dwayne the Rock
I'd like to
Johnson
meet that
looks
guy.
like
He seems like a really nice
really
guy. I have no
cool
clue what
guy.
I'd ask him, but he seems like a pretty cool dude.
I'd ask him to
I
hold
watched
me.
Fast Five recently, and the greatest like line ever delivered in film history was delivered by The Rock in that film.
Mm-hmm.
When one of his guys comes over, he's like, good news, bad news. And he's like, come on, son, you know I like my dessert first. And that's fine. And then he tells him the good news, and he's like, all right, now give me the veggies.
I remember that. I have seen that.
Man, that's so funny. I really want to watch that movie now. I've never seen that.
It's so good. You haven't seen Fast Five?
No, because did you watch the trailer for Fast
I'm
and
pretty
Furious
sure-
8? Did anybody watch that trailer?
I'm pretty sure in Fast 7, Furious 7,
Furious 7,
when he's like, Daddy's got to go to work, and then he flexes out of his cast. He's like, "Grr," and the cast just breaks off.
Dude, what the fuck happened to that series? Like, if you
Yeah.
watch the first one and then you watch, even just watch the trailer.
I'm pretty
for the
sure
new one.
3 is where it all went downhill.
Did anybody? I mean, the thing is, like, they're still entertaining as fuck. It's just so. Like, the first one is so serious and, like, down to earth and grounded, and it's, like, about... It's
Is
just
it,
about...
though?
I mean, it's just about illegal street racing.
Yeah.
And then
It takes
this one...
itself very
I'm pretty sure the
seriously.
first one's about them stealing VHSs.
You know, in
Guys-
their own ways, they're all pretty great.
Guys, the new movie. Did you watch the trailer? The new movie.
No.
The Fate of the Furious is what it's called. And there is a scene where they're literally driving on ice while being chased by a submarine.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck happened to that series? I think it's kind of great in a way.
But why?
It's so dumb, but it's probably going to be entertaining as shit. But just Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
All right, couple more questions. Let's get through them real quick. From Piosht, the upcoming holidays mean upcoming holiday video game events. Are there any video games that you wish changed things up for winter?
You mean like for when they do like in-game events?
In-game things, yeah.
Playoffs.
Like I've always liked when games like I don't know if they would, but something like if like Dying Light, like how all the zombies had like Santa hats or something like that.
Kind of like
That
how
would be
Overwatch
cool.
is doing their Christmas holiday event. right
Yeah,
now.
I do like when games do that. Off the top of my head, I'm trying
Crispy,
to.
you lied. You said Let It Die is the only game you're playing. You're playing.
I have played Overwatch.
I wouldn't
a lot,
mind like a
actually.
Santa set in Let It Die.
That would
That
be
would
cool.
be cool.
Yeah, like a Santa hat.
I think those kind
Like
of
a
games.
mall Santa with like.
I think they should
barf
update
on
The
it or
Last
something.
Guardian and give Trico a little Santa hat. That'd be adorable.
I was gonna say,
Wouldn't it be
if
great
if he
it-
poops ornaments?
Wouldn't it be great if in winter in The Last of Us, like Joel and Ellie were just wearing Santa hats?
Yeah, I mean stuff like that. That's always kind of like
That's
cute.
a
I like how
It's a little
our
hammy.
definition
It's a little
of
hammy.
special Christmas event is just put Christmas hats
I mean,
on
I was
everything.
I was
Souls-
going to have in Tomb Raider
Dark Souls
when
3 with
when
the
Laura
Christmas event.
Croft is carrying a torch, instead she's carrying a menorah.
or that.
Who?
Lara
Lara.
Croft.
Lara Croft. Dark Souls would be a good one.
That'd be a good one. Maybe like
Just put. I got it.
instead
just put
of
Christmas
instead
hats
of
on all the
bonfire-
enemies.
Instead of the bonfire, it'd be like a little Christmas tree, and then when you sit at the bonfire, your character's like drinking hot chocolate.
Oh my God,
That'd be great.
See?
Oh, I love it.
All right.
that shit's
Anyway, final question this week from one Mr. Boy. Staying on the holiday theme, I hate snow because of my job, but is my favorite setting for a video game level. Do you have any favorite snow-based levels or settings, and what is your favorite climate setting for a level? Yes!
Golden
Winter
Eye.
and The Last of Us.
Lakeside. The Lakeside map
In
in Factions.
That was such a good
I
map.
fucking love that map.
Especially when the gale winds start blowing
like
and you can't see
blizzards
like 10
will
feet in
happen
front of you.
like
Yeah.
while you're fucking like playing the multiplayer, and it is I fucking love.
But the whole
that
winter
map.
section of the single player of that game
It
is
is good. Yeah.
incredible.
My favorite
Um,
snowy level is, of course, Vendrana Drifts and Metroid Prime, especially
yes.
coming out of the very overbearing and oppressive Magmoor Caverns. just washed over
Bully
me.
had the winter kind of thing, didn't it? At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I was going to bring up.
Halloween.
This is just the first one. Like, I don't know if it's my favorite,
Yeah.
but it's one of the first that comes to mind is from the original GoldenEye. Was the level called Satellite or was it called? What was it? I remember the level specifically because you walk out and there's the big satellite off in the distance. But it was like one of the only levels in the game that felt very open, which was kind of unusual back in the day. It was a very like you were just kind of going from one like little underground bunker to the next, but you were trudging across the snow and you had to kind of find all these kind of like hidden bunkers everywhere.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool feeling, especially at the time. I kind of like the atmosphere of the Majora's Mask temple / when you go up in the mountain and the village is frozen over. That was pretty cool.
And Twilight Princess.
And Twilight Princess. Oh yeah, that was the
snow
snow
mansion.
yeah,
whatever it's called. That's a really great. And you
mansion.
go snowboarding.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ice level or snow levels.
Snowboarding after Eris dies, and
that
yeah, that's true.
that one of the expansions from Dark Souls 2. Which one was it? Like
Oh,
Crown of the
yeah,
Ivory King.
Yeah.
or Castle Canehurst.
Castle
in
Canehurst.
Bloodborne.
Castle Keener.
Oh yeah, that was snow. I mean, it was I forgot.
It was snow and blood, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was snow.
Well, cool.
Yay!
So thanks, patrons, for those questions. Any of our patrons are welcome to ask us any question they were like. As you can see this week, there was a wide variety of questions.
a wide swath,
Yeah.
if you will.
So be sure to look out for the post on our Patreon page, patreon.com/4Player.
Of which there are updates coming.
Yep. We post it generally every Monday is when the thread goes up, but just any time before the podcast.
And if you want like up to the minute updates on when we post these question threads, join our Discord.
Yep.
Discord.gg/4Player. No, I know when Nolan posted on Patreon, he jumps in there and says, "Hey, it's posted." And that's your cue. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the show, guys. 4-Player minute. You know how it works. Hype, sweat, fuck you, thank you.
Not
Brad,
this week. Not this week.
or whatever
Nick.
Brad's got.
I'm feeling really feeling good. Feeling good.
feeling good.
Good mood. I got 4 hypes. My first hype is I'm starting to get really excited for the Switch. Really excited for the Switch. Really excited for a new Mario game. Because,
I'm so nervous.
But I mean, even if it's not the next Mario 64, it's probably still going to be a good time.
I think it's going to be a mediocre time.
Hey. I mean, hey, if the jumping's better than it is in The Last Guardian, I can't wait. But, I'm excited for something new. They played, I am a little iffy because they played that new Zelda on Fallon, and it looked like it was actually running better than it did on the Wii U.
It did, yeah.
Wait, they were playing Breath of the Wild
Yeah, they did.
on the
Fallon.
Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
That was the...
It looked like it was running
it did.
smoothly. I'm hoping that it doesn't run like dramatically better than the Wii U because I might not be able to buy a Switch right away.
I didn't like that bit just because sometimes I think Fallon goes way over the top.
Oh God,
all
yeah,
the time.
fuck Fallon.
But
God, what is everyone's fucking
Yeah.
problem?
What did
With Fallon, or-
What did
Just a
Jimmy
guy,
Fallon do to you? You guys just hate him because he's successful?
No,
No, it's not a
he just has
success.
like this fakey
Yeah, but
excitement.
Yeah,
you know?
no, every
I'm
time.
so fucking
Maybe
excited.
he's generally
that's
excited
my.
about
But like, what? Do you, but like,
anyway,
really? It's like,
that's
fuck that
that's
guy?
besides the point. I didn't say fuck that guy. I just said
But,
I didn't like his attitude.
It's just kind of a weird.
But
fucking stance to
anyway,
take.
they showed him having the Switch in the port, and he takes it out, and he starts playing, and there's like being able to see that fucking tiny thing playing the game looked. I'm high hopes for it.
I'm excited. My other hype is for hopefully, starting this new year, I'll be able to start building my new computer. Very excited. My old one is barely hanging in there. I'm actually doing okay. That i7, that 2600K, man, it's been a good trusty.
Trooper?
Yeah, it's been a trooper. But I'm ready for something new. I'm kind of excited to play FTL and even better frame rate. My next hype is for whatever's next for Fumito Ueda. The Last Guardian has been a long, troublesome thing, and
I would assume he's been working on something.
well, now that he's left Sony, whatever it is, I don't think that this next one is going to be related to the Eco universe, and he's done these 3 games that are all kind of like remarkable and strange and very artsy or whatever, but they've all they've all looked the same. They've all been in more or less the same universe, and they've all dealt with. I would say it's even sort of like a thematic trilogy, a gameplay trilogy as well. Like they're all linked, and I kind of just want what if a way to made like a cyberpunk RPG or something? I don't know. Like what's next for the man? Who knows? It's a little more ambitious than like say what that game company's doing. Which is a similar type of thing where they put out artsy games, but they're not trying to make like stuff like that mechanically complex or anything. They're just trying to make art pieces that you play kind of. Fumito Ueda, it's different. And I kind of want to see what the hell he works on next. And finally, my hype is for the Christmas level of Hitman.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Your targets are Marv and it's fucking Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci from Home Alone.
Really?
Yeah, those are your fucking targets.
Yeah.
Like
Wet Bandits.
And like
the Wet Bandits.
The detail, like the description of the mission is talking about how you have to go track down these these thieves that have
I hope one of the ways you can kill Marv is by hooking up a car battery to a sink so when he touches it, they do the thing with his skeleton in his hair.
And they completely decorated
there's
Paris.
so much potential there. But how much can they do legally? Is what I want to know.
They completely decorated
Paris
and
level.
Christmas stuff, and you can. There's like a Santa, and you can probably get his
I
outfit,
didn't play too many of the
You can definitely get his outfit.
Yeah, you can. The limited missions, but I'm definitely gonna play
they're
this.
good.
No,
They're
I'm
good.
not saying they're not.
I've only done 2 of them. But like the
just don't
stakes
have
are so
fucking
high because you only have one chance.
Yeah.
That's when you start playing like Hitman. No more reloading. It's like I got to do something now. This guy's got to die. This guy's got to. It reminds me of that scene from like Mulholland Drive with the shitty Hitman.
Yeah.
Where you just got to make it work.
He's like shooting through walls.
Yeah. But man, I can't wait. I've reignited my love for Hitman this past week, or before the whole Let It Die thing started. When I cared about other 2016 games, I really had a good time finishing up Hitman, and it's definitely kind of thing I kind of regret not doing all the elusive targets and stuff. But new stuff is still coming, and I plan to do all of it. Yeah. So yeah, just hype in general, guys.
Cool. Nolan?
All right, my 4-player minutes now. My hype is for Rogue One. I'm pretty excited for that. I went on kind of a blackout. I've been watching any of the new trailers and stuff or anything.
Looks like I'm going on Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay, cool.
Spoiled.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so I'm not going to be able to.
I've not made plans. Or
I'm
tickets
going on
impossible
Friday.
But I'm pretty hyped for it.
I've only seen one trailer. It was a teaser.
I've seen the first 2 trailers and I haven't seen anything since. So I'm excited for it. That's a lie. The other day I was watching a YouTube video on my TV and I didn't have ad blocker on it, so the trailer came up and I was kind of like trying not to watch. But I'm hyped for that. My shame goes to just my experience with the 2 most hyped games for this year.
As you should be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed of myself.
You should be.
I'm ashamed of the experiences I received from those games.
Oh.
Shitty Japanese
That's
developers.
not how shame works.
Trying to make AAA games. Leave it to Ubisoft, guys. Maybe.
Oh God. Yeah.
You gonna go back to Watch Dogs?
That was gonna be my fuck you was to Ubisoft because of the fact that I can't get fucking Watch Dogs 2 to work. I don't know why. I'm having issues. I've tried a few things. It just hasn't worked out. It's just frustrating. That I was actually very excited to start that game because I'm partially ashamed of myself for how much fucking the fact that I let myself play Let It Die. That's gonna distract me from other games that I really wanted to get through this year.
Then Poison Claws, though, bro.
Oh, fuck you. And it just Ubisoft was not fucking plug and play for me. I downloaded the game and it just wouldn't fucking go, and that's frustrating. But then my thank you this week. Oh fuck, I lost it. That's why I should have wrote it down. I normally do.
Yourself
yeah, I normally do. My thank you this week.
You don't have a thank you.
No, I did. Oh,
Don't lie. You can always just give us one more thing you're excited for. if you prefer.
I mean, yeah, I guess one more thing I am excited for.
There's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, no, it was going to be Hitman because Joseph was tweeting at us about that yesterday, and I'm fucking hyped for that.
Sweet.
Hitman is a game. I don't think I finished the last level, the Japan, was it?
I haven't even touched it yet.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, and it's one of the things.
That one has. It's good.
Dude, there's I could give another fucking Shane to myself because when I emailed Chris Davis my tentative top 10 list, I included a list of like 30 games that I was like, I wish these could be contenders for my top 10, but I have not played them enough to be able to even put them on my list, and that's just fucking frustrating.
I actually feel like I played most of the stuff I wanted to play. I just haven't finished everything I started.
All right, Crispy.
My hype this week is for the Lego Batman movie.
That looks so good.
Dude, they just put out a new trailer this last week.
That shit.
Oh my god, it looks so fucking good. I can't wait.
That was so funny.
I love that it's Will Arnett and Michael Cera as Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Like that alone is incredible. They just revealed that fucking Billy D. Williams is going to be in the game as Harvey Dent Two-Face. Like, because he played Two-Face or he played Harvey Dent.
He played Harvey Dent in the original Batman.
And there was originally a plan to develop that character into Two-Face, and I think within the last year or so, like a bunch of old production images of like his preliminary like makeup tests to like look like Harvey Dent came out, and the Lego character of Two-Face looks like those test images. It looks fucking weird. Like, it looks so great. I think that movie is gonna be incredible. I can't wait for it.
The last episode of Telltale Batman came out today or yesterday.
I've only played the first episode.
I played the first episode.
Man, you're Mr. Batman.
And you have the whole season.
You're not Batman. You're bad. Man.
I know. I'm terrible.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Dick sucking. Dude, I don't know what it is, man. I love that game.
Continue, please.
And fuck you. My sweat goes to the final I just took. I mean, fuck, man. I hate being back in school.
What was the class?
That one was it was college algebra for the first math class I've taken in
a long time.
10 years. Like, yeah.
Bet that was fun.
It's been a little while. My thank you for the week actually goes to Carlos. And it's because on Monday, Carlos was tweeting about a game called Anatomy. I looked it up. It's only $3. I was like, fuck it. This sounds like something that, despite being a horror game, might actually be up my alley. I played it. That game's fucking awesome. Like, that is a really...
How long did it take?
It's like 35 minutes to do the whole... to get whole experience. But it is... I mean, it's not very gaming. Like, it is basically a walking simulator.
Like a 30 Flights of Loving kind of?
Kind of, yeah. There is a bit more interactivity, but fuck, man. Like, as like sort of an artistic piece, it does an amazing job, and it manages to be so fucking like creepy and unnerving and like downright scary without ever once like putting another entity in the room with you. There's no jump scares. There's no enemies. There's no. There's no anything. Like it's the whole. Well, I mean, the basic premise of the game as it's set up is you're in a dark house. Like, you're in a house with no lights.
Yeah.
And you're walking around the house finding these cassette tapes, and then you bring them back to the kitchen and you play the cassette tape.
Don't say anything. I want to play it.
It's really, really great. And it's definitely one of those games that kind of like
35 minutes. I can play that.
It fucks with you.
I can finish that.
You'll finish the game and be like, okay, and then there's like a README file in the game's files. It's like, hey, you think you beat the game? Well, reload it. And it's one of those. Like, yeah. Okay. It is
I think
great.
You should stop there.
I'm gonna stop there. It's fantastic. It's a great experience. The central theme and idea behind the whole thing is also super fucking fascinating. It really reminds me of one of my favorite books of all time, which I don't know if it's a spoiler to tell you.
Yes, it is. Stop there. Just stop there.
Does it involve?
I don't want to know.
No.
I don't want to know.
Does it involve trees?
I don't want to know.
It's great. It's $3.
I can do that too.
You can find it on itch.io, however you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Anatomy. It is very much worth it. I feel like it's a lot better than maybe
Don't finish that sentence.
9 other games I played this year. There's maybe 9 other games I played this year that are better than it. Maybe.
Fair.
And my fuck you for the week goes to the very stupid thing that I did. It goes to me.
Spill it,
You
Crispy.
bought a Vita.
I bought a Vita.
Are you serious?
No, I went to GameStop and I bought a pre-owned copy of The Division
Oh God.
Oh, that's right.
for like $16.
Oh God.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But then Let It Die happened.
But then Let It Die happen.
But you traded in Dragon Quest Builders to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
But
2
like
weeks
it
in
was
a
a
row.
really good movie.
That's 2 weeks in a row where you've talked about trading.
It was a really good movie. I didn't trade
purchase.
anything in. I just went and picked it up. I was kind of into what The Division's doing
Sure.
like when it came out.
Sure.
Me too.
It's, I like other games like it, like Destiny, and I didn't get enough time with it earlier in the year because it was in a really rough state. But it is still a 2016 game. They've done a lot of updating to it. I picked it up to see if maybe it's...
Wow, that seems like a bad. This seems like a bad time to get into the Division.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be in Florida doing nothing for like 10 days, so I'll have time.
Okay.
Couldn't
I heard
find a
that
better way.
survival mode's pretty cool. I guess
I don't know. We'll see. It might
people
still
have been
suck.
talking about
It
it.
might still suck.
All right, is it my turn yet?
Yes.
All right.
Weird.
My
I'm sorry,
hype.
Nick. We ran out of time.
My hype.
I'm sorry.
Shut your mouth. My hype is unequivocally Resident Evil 7. In VR, specifically. I mean, like, I'm excited for Resident Evil 7 in general, but I'm super excited at the prospect of playing a fully fledged, like, sequel to a AAA franchise in VR because my experience with the demo was super positive. It was also really weird going from playing that demo just on a TV to playing that same demo and being in that same room in VR. Like, it's just a really cool feeling. And I have faith that Capcom can deliver a scary experience. This demo certainly captures a entirely different vibe than Resident Evil 6 did.
Mm-hmm.
Even Resident Evil 5. So I'm super excited, and it's coming soon. So my sweat goes to Prey. We were going to talk about this a little bit, but we couldn't watch the footage while we were recording. I watched that footage that was released to Game Informer.
Yep.
It's like a 9-minute gameplay demo, and there were a lot of things in that demo that I think looked really cool. They used a lot of buzzwords that I was very, excited about, like skill trees and turning into cups and
My favorite
traversal
buzzwords.
with foam guns.
I believe they refer to that as cupping.
Cupping, yeah. I think that's a totally different thing. Yeah, and all that stuff resonated with me. It seemed like they also said things like, it's a big open space station. You can go anywhere you want, whenever you want. You can even traverse the outside of the space station freely, which seems really fucking cool. What I'm worried about is that every time they showed an enemy on screen, I think the enemy design is lacking.
You think it's some XCOM
The Bureau?
First-person
the
shooter?
Bureau shit?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
before the Bureau, when it was just XCOM 2.
XCOM 2, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of caught a glimpse of them, in some of the earlier footage and trailers and whatnot. And not to say that they can't deliver a solid experience and make those enemies scary or whatever, but from what I saw in just that 9-minute demo, did not impress me. It seemed very uninspired. Basically, they're just shapeless black humanoid figures
Well,
that
they
can
take
turn
shapes.
into things.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like that's the scariest thing. Is like knowing that anything in the environment could potentially be an enemy.
Yeah.
That's cool. But as soon as they give away their position and they are fully fledged creatures that you have to fight, I
I
think
bet the fact that they turn into things and unturn into things is the reason they look the way they do. Because if it just looked like a little green alien and you
I don't want a little
it,
green alien.
I know, but I mean, like, what are you gonna see? Like, describe something that would look cool turning into a trash can and then not turning. Unturning in from a trash can.
That's not what I'm saying. Is the reason I was more concerned, not just necessarily the alien designs, but
it needs to be wispy.
But when they entered into combat and suddenly it was gunplay, you were shooting that thing. It did not look satisfying to me. Mm-hmm. It did not look like you were getting the feedback that was.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll look better when the.
But yeah, it's still a ways away, and that was only one or two enemy types they showed. There could be more. I don't know.
That could be the first enemy you encounter.
I'm assuming they're keeping a lot of that close to their chest.
Of course they are.
But just first impressions of like the enemies did not really blow my socks off.
That just reminded me that earlier this year I bought XCOM the Bureau. Nice. So it was on sale for like $5. It was $5.
I didn't even finish that game.
No, on console.
I didn't even.
Yeah, that's especially bad.
Yeah, I know. And I regret buying it, especially because I haven't touched it. But anyway.
You should.
Yeah. Rough purchase.
My fuck you of the week goes to Ubisoft for Honor, which they revealed as opposed to, despite having said differently in the past.
That comes out in what, January?
I think
February.
Maybe it's February.
It's early February.
Despite, I think it's the same day as Neo. Maybe.
I think so.
Despite having said,
I wonder which samurai I'll be playing.
Despite having said to the contrary,
don't be shitty.
This game is going to require an internet connection to play.
No,
100% of the time.
Well, because it's a multiplayer thing.
I think that's. I think it's deceptive that they even said. I mean, if that was the case from the beginning, or if they had never said anything about it one way and then just said, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's requires," but they had specifically said before that it does not require internet connection.
That single player is basically going to be Rise.
It's the week after Neo.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So fuck you, Ubisoft, for kind of backtracking on that and suddenly taking. I mean, I was actually kind of excited about For Honor, and now I'm a little less excited. So fuck you for that. And my thank you of the week goes to Team Eco, mostly for sticking it out. There's a lot of that was such a long, troubled development cycle. They could have abandoned that project at any point, but they didn't. They stuck with it, and to me, delivered an experience that connected with me on an emotional level that most, like 95, 98% of the games that I played don't achieve.
Pretty fucking high praise.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like the last game I can remember playing where I felt emotionally connected to a character as strong as I do to Trico is when I was playing The Last of Us.
Also crazy to think about the fact that The Last of Us came out in 2013.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a little strange.
The last time I was emotionally connected to a character,
they were in 16-bit.
Was not 24. When
13.
Year? It was 2014 when I played Last of Us Left Behind.
Sure.
There you go.
Sure. But I think Ellie is the last, partner character that you play with that I remember legitimately like feeling a connection with and wanting a bond with and being affected by what's happening to those characters in the story. So it's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's it. That's my 4-player minute. And that's our show.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I think if you guys want to chime in and leave your vote for your top 10 games of 2016, we have a survey going right now on 4playernetwork.com. We'll put out a community-centric video featuring the top 10 games as voted by the community. So you have until December 31st to get your votes in. So check it out. It's at 4playernetwork.com. If there's anything we talked about tonight that you'd like to chime in on that we can revisit at the beginning of the next episode, which is next Wednesday, you can leave a comment on the post for this episode at 4playernetwork.com. And I think that's it. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Peace out, bitches.